You ready to burn these Epstein files? Hell yeah. Let's do it. Watch it go up. That's it. Gone forever. Good job, guys. I couldn't ask for better bitches. Thanks, BB.
Burning devotion, hide all the sins. Pizza parties buried, beef jerky wings. Hide all the names of the pedos involved. Two loyal Boy Scout Shabbos tasks to resolve. And pay to surrender. Call it a Sunday and fed you our poop. Cower and hide, our hands are still tied. And we're shabos like the goy. Bluster and hype, no action inside. A guy who likes dong, shaved Donkey Kong. And we're shabos like the goy. Back on my podcast, blowing hot air. Rant about liberals, pretending I care. Trade a Pajit, the failure's complete. Herald and come off of the pedal elite. Squat over my head, squeeze out a kipper. MK Ultra, no escape from the gripper. Chill in the office, this job is a bore. Fly to the gigs when my beard is on tour. Can't find my FBI patches, won't deplane till I've got them. Harky party with the guys, like a real power bottom. Fuck Candace Owens. You talked a good game, but deliver jack shit. Same corrupt crew, flip switches for Jews. And we're shambles like the goy. FBI jet, got no regrets, corrupt as it gets. Dave is upset. And we're shambles like the goy. Shambles like the goy. And we're shambles like the goy.
Well, hello. Thank you for being on to Derp with Kurp. Hold on, my screen is not. What is this bullshit? All right, sorry about that. Boy, that Mike Huckabee really took you to school with that high note, didn't he? All right, we got a great guest today. There's no time to worry about. I got a great Derp for you. It's as you know, I go on quite a bit about Tracy Twyman. So Mark, my Nephilim, the Patouche of the show, if you will. Got me Dr. Heather Lynn, who knows all about research. And normally, you know, this is not an interview show. It's like a phone call I'm having with someone that you could listen to. And I'm very clear about that. But there's too much shit I want to ask you. So I'm just going to like throw out three in case I get scattered and forget. I want to know what the F Baphomet is. Okay. Throw anything you know about Tracy Twyman, what happened with her. Because we had Chris Knowles on and also the guy from Higher Side Chats was on. And I'm not unsure. Yeah, and Anunnaki, because I can't stand that Sitchin bullshit. That Rockefeller funded Zachariah Sitchin. It's just like the Nordic alien bullshit, you know, like really they sound like Germans to me. They don't sound like they're Nordics. All right. No. Anyway, so so just tell us about your research and what you do, and I'm probably gonna have you talking a lot.
Well, it's hard to follow that music video. So
I know those guys I have my differences with them, Doctor, but you got to admit talent when you see it.
All right. So, well, about me, I guess I'm an archaeologist, a historian, and you know, I got the degrees and all of that sort of thing. And I don't like to even go on and on about that anymore because I think credentialism is pretty much been exposed as bullshit, especially after Douglas Murray's whole like "have you been" thing.
Oh,
and I think people are just tired of it, and so I don't even claim that to be like.
You don't have no credentials, just for everybody's information. He has a bachelor's degree of English.
Right.
Fuck you, Douglas. You've never been. You fucking.
He's never been. So,
He's got his facelift to look like Sharon Osbourne before her facelift.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. So there's that. So essentially, I've just been kind of writing in this sphere of alternative stuff for probably about a decade. I do some little guest spots on Ancient Aliens. I know that's like corporate, but, I'll still be an apologist for them. Good people on that show.
As an astronaut and a shaman and a judge, a lifestyle judge, sometimes I'll watch it. I believe
it's a fun show.
I believe in aliens less after I watch it.
Right.
I believe in aliens.
That's what I'm talking about. So, well, you mentioned it too. So essentially, I write books and I have a podcast and I do all the typical stuff. But but you asked, I think, a really good question too. I want to start with the Anunnaki question because especially given the Sitchin and all of that. I've written a book called The Anunnaki Connection, and that was like a while back. And then my new one's Anunnaki Revelation. And so I've kind of been on this Anunnaki thing for a little bit. I didn't start out interested in it. I didn't even know who Sitchin was. I was initially interested in some excavations that were going on in about 2013, I believe, with the site of Ur, and it was really cool. And there was a press release out.
You always say but that's what you mean when you say Ur. You're probably saying it right.
Doesn't matter. Ur.
Okay.
Or the only pet peeve I have, the only one I'll go on here publicly and make sure everyone knows is it's Sumer, not Sumeria. So there's that. So I'm a stickler for that one. Yeah. Because there's Samaria and then there's Sumer. And then sometimes people conflate those. So, but aside from that, it doesn't really matter too much because we're talking about like space aliens and all that. So, but the initial thing that got me interested was that there was this excavation going on, and it was pretty cool. One of the first that the West had gone into after all the wars, and there was a press release about it. And so I was like,
what year?
About 2013 that the press release came out. And so I had a blog at the time and Facebook following. And so I was like, I made an arrangement to talk to the professor at the University of Manchester about it. And I thought, well, while I'm at it, why don't I just take questions from the audience, so to speak? And the things everybody wanted to know was like Stargates and Anunnaki. And I'm like, sure, why not? I don't care. And so I put out a legitimate, question set because that was, they wanted those ahead of time, and everything was great until I actually sent the questions in. And then it became sort of like a ghosting situation.
Why?
And I think because of just the general problem with people who are in their bubble in academia, not wanting to like get down to the hoi polloi and talk to them. It's hard because it creates a vacuum then, so that people do then fill it in speculation and whatever. So, and then that creates the problem. They're all mad.
Right. I agree. That's conspiracy theory. Well, if you're not lying to me, like a girl getting cheated on, like I'm a bitch getting cheated on, and I know you're lying to me, right? I know my partner's lying to me, but I don't know how exactly. So I'm left to fill in the blanks. Yeah. And I get real upset when people are lying to me like a chick. So I'm gonna make up whatever the fuck I want because you're lying to me.
Right. And sometimes the stuff's more interesting anyway. And sometimes it actually makes more sense on some Intuit level. So another thing that from somebody on the inside who had friends who were professors, I was a professor for a while. And so the thing that I heard that I really didn't understand and I really hated was when people who were in these positions would complain about the public contacting them with questions because they'd be like, I, don't work for free. Why should I have to tell these people anything? And I'm like, I didn't understand that elitism because I had a background that was a little different. I left home at 16 and ran away and traveled the country, did all kinds of wacky stuff, and then ended up, of course, going back and completing school and all that. So I just came from a different mindset, and I didn't understand that elitist mentality. And so that kind of was the start of that, where it's like, if you say you found an artifact in your backyard, you would think responsibly, hey, maybe I'll go to the local college or museum and ask them what it is and investigate. And sometimes those people are back there like, psh, that's hourly, consulting fees, whatever.
Well, I have a question. Do you think it has something to do? And I wanted to have Justin Sledge on this dude's channel. I saw because I saw him complain about this, and I had to watch his channel to get just like a regular somebody that's like an employed academics idea of this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, so it was valuable to me. And anyway, he's talking about like it's almost impossible to get tenure when the big dingbat fucking feminist thing of the 20 whatevers where they go, I don't have time to educate you. And because I didn't know these fake professors were adjunct professors and they're not real. So they're the equivalent of a bringer show in stand-up comedy where they're like real snotty, but I never heard of these fucking people, you know, and they were, and because scarcity of a thing that they used to get, which is tenure, so they introduce more scarcity, right? And now you got to fight for your spot extra if you want to be. It's not like I could do this stupid show. If everybody don't like anything else I do, I could do this.
Yeah.
A lot of people could, but I know academics can't have a hard time thinking that way.
Oh, that was one of the reasons I left, because I was an adjunct and I was holding on for tenure and all of this. And so, but actually the big reason I left was because I had a student who was giving me a hit list and was sneaking into my classroom.
Give me a hit list.
A hit list, like here are the students and teachers I'm going to pop. And after
they told you they're going to off the following students, why would they bring that to you?
So I had this very disturbed student one term, and he in the first week of class, I'm standing up there and he runs up and gives me this hug, and he's having these just outbursts right after one of the courses. He stayed behind and he starts telling me all this wild stuff, and I recorded it. And there were a lot of problems. He would like sit in front of the class, and as you know, I'd speak, he'd be tearing off his cuticles and his nail bed. And
what?
I was,
oh God.
Oh, it was really disturbing. And so, but I brought this, of course, to my department chair, and I brought it to security. And first of all, my department chair was telling me this like little anecdote about, well, one time a student punched me and about knocked me off and I'm like, yeah, okay. So anyway, can I get some help here? What am I supposed to do? So I went to the counselor, and it was a whole thing. What they ended up doing was telling me that I needed to change my lesson plan so that I didn't talk about anything existential, even though I was talking on like a humanities.
That's odd.
I know the whole thing was crazy. I record. Oh, hi.
The other students have paid to learn about something existential.
Well, it was my academic freedom was at stake too, because it was the very first of the term. So I'm not going to change my class. It was like a very popular class, and I was like the only one holding together that. I mean, not to like, you know, but I mean, it was a small school, and I kind of had a lot of students, and I thought they'd take me more seriously. They didn't, because I was just an adjunct and they didn't care. Well, the problem was I asked for at least security, and they said they didn't want to have security presence because it would alert the student, since he was
they don't want to come on.
he was Latinx.
I was going to ask you, I was going to go like, hey, don't leave out the most important part. What race were they? No, I know.
I'm just saying.
Latinx is the real.
Yeah. All right. So there
it didn't take off that name, did it?
No, it didn't. No, and anyone
it's
I know.
It's almost like people from that descent don't want to be named after what sounds like a gas you deploy at the border to keep them out.
Yeah, exactly.
Latinx.
So that was a problem, but I recorded all of this. Like I said, I had everything on record, like everything. And then, so I ended up having, nobody would help. And it was really terrible.
Now, what year is this?
3 years ago.
3 years ago, really?
Yeah.
And so like that was over. Well, it's academia. It shipped around.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I ended up taking it. My friends in their legal department, like other professors, they were like, you know, this isn't, you have to like quit. And I was like, wait, what? And I guess because at the time there was this liability thing that had like happened in, I think Michigan was setting a precedence for like a professor or somebody could be held accountable if something did happen, even though I did everything that I could.
Wait. So you're telling me if you taught your lessons plan, you would be, what's the term? Stochastic terrorist, because some whack job that they don't want to take action about. It's your fault for looshing up the blood.
Yes. And they told me too, they knew about this kid, and they said, well, he was just released from a mental institution. And they told me that they talked to him afterwards, but said that he said he wasn't a threat to himself or others.
Oh, well, as long as he thought so.
It was like, right. And I had him on recording. I had it on my phone where he's talking, like his questions were regarding the morality of killing individuals if they were like rapists or something. It essentially would be cleansing the world. And he's lost. He's talking out the window. He's not even looking at me. But I mean, this kid was definitely not needing to be in my class. He needed to be, he needed help.
Can I just ask you something? Why? Because this story of like the guy You know, you always hear like the old jokes of like everybody said he was such a quiet guy and blah blah blah, which I've never seen that. You know what I've seen repeatedly is everyone around these assholes calling the police, the FBI, their faculty, and being told to shut up about it.
That's
and yet
happened.
I'm to believe this is organic and not, you know, like with the Unabomber who they MK Ultras. It sounds like they want something to happen to you.
Yeah. Well, it was weird. And I basically, I talked to a few different people, a lawyer, counselor, et cetera, and friends. They all advised me, save your ass. You have to quit. You have to put it in an email. This is why I'm quitting, all of this so that you're not liable. And then I took it to the prosecutor, and I just had to go through all these things for a few months, like getting it to the prosecutor. But essentially I couldn't even go back. And
so able to cover it up.
Yeah, actually.
Were they able to sweep it away without any justice? Did that guy do anything? Well, did the guy
no, thankfully, no. But then the school started going bankrupt anyway. They were in the middle of a bankruptcy.
You know what a bankrupt school might do at a small college? Get a little extra money to let somebody run one of those human ticking clock monarch retards, like the guy on 6th Street in Austin who wore unbelievably. This is I was out of town. I was in New Orleans in Halloween, Florida, doing shows. Good times in New Orleans, been Lafayette, by the way. But when I came back, this guy, he injured 14 people. He killed 2 people on 6th Street, not far from the club, Joe's Club, where I play. And there's a picture of him. He was a Senegalese immigrant who had an Iran flag and a shirt that said "Property of Allah" on in the picture. And to the police's credit, they're not calling it a terror attack. They're saying it possibly could be one because even a moron could look at this. Even the dumbest cow brain in this dumb fuck country of Satan worshipers could look at this and see this is what you call a setup from a wind-up toy like the 2 guys who shot at Trump and the furry they pinned Charlie Kirk on, and all of them. I don't think there's a single organic one. And that sounds, here's what happens in my brain when you tell me a story. Oh, school's almost out of money. We know we can experiment on people with a goddamn bioweapon. They'll all take it. I'll bet a school will take you some grant money to let them, let's just test out this model or whatever that we have in your class. Because everything is so inverted where it's blamed on you. So female, I mean, yes, adjunct professor, but I don't think that should...
Well, no, I was adjunct, but I'll tell you, if you can, look on Rate My Professor, it was like extraordinarily high marks. And that's only because this was at a community college. I started at a community college when I was like coming back from being homeless, and I worked my way through school. And I always told myself, I want to teach, but I want to go to a community college because that's where I felt like that's where people can make a real difference. Huh? I was homeless.
How long?
Transient and homeless. So I was transient for probably about 3 years.
Right. Homeless,
like on street, in car, probably about 8 to 10 months, depending.
Oh, okay. Because that's the majority of homelessness here. Majority of homeless, the people have jobs. The ones you see, it's so many homeless. The ones you see are like the ones that don't even have but a lot of people have jobs that are homeless. Nobody understands it because they don't see someone with a job.
I was a kid. Since I ran away from home, I didn't, so that was my problem, was that I
ran away.
My mom was a crazy bipolar alcoholic and all, just the typical story, right? I lived in squalor,
One or the other.
It was
bipolar or alcoholic.
Both. I had the luxury of both. So I had everything wrong. So I was just like, I'm out of here. I could do this better myself, which, newsflash, I wasn't able to. I was a kid. So I'm like an uneducated
How old were you?
Kid, 16.
Oh, that's pretty wild, man. That's something.
Yeah.
To go to that.
I did. I just left. And then, of course, everybody, I'm going to LA because I was a really good student and I had a music scholarship, which actually now is like a weird thing because it happened to be for Interlochen at the time. So I'm like, good thing I dodged that bullet given the Epstein stuff.
Oh, right. Oh, I forgot.
I got a lot of weird connections with that. My dad lived in West Palm Beach, so I thought maybe I'll go live with him. He was in federal prison before for like SEC issues. He was an attorney that worked with Johnny Cochran. I mean, a whole bunch of weird stuff, right? But I avoided all that and I got out there and I was just trying to survive. And so I ended up like just working fast food and doing what I could and to get unhomeless, but never did drugs, never did anything like that. But it's what you'd expect if you're 16 and you just run off and just think you're going to make it.
I honestly, look,
it could have been so much worse.
Yeah, I would say like This is like one of the better runaway from home at 16 stories I've ever heard.
I Mr. Magooed it. That was it.
Me too, man. I mean, what I like it too, Mr. Magoo. Divine nonchalance. Yep.
I have been, because I lived in Compton. I have been in so many strange situations that I should have probably been dead already. But
yeah, right. But
Mr. Magoo, I'm just like, and I just like Forrest Gump, Mr. whatever. I don't know. But I finally got my shit together. And when I was like 21, 22.
Now you're on the greatest podcast ever created on this channel. So that is really quite something. And I think.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. So, yes, the pinnacle of my career.
Sorry, I was celebrating your big win, and I probably.
I appreciate it. I'm celebrating too. So long story short, that's how I came to be. And then I left teaching, and I have been a museum director and just kind of a little one here. Well,
Oh no!
I'm always around the drama, so I had to report them to the Attorney General, and so it's currently in a situation.
Because they're hiding the NBA bones, as I've accused multiple. The ancient,
I'll tell you what
days of Noah NBA size bones.
It's a small museum, so it wasn't that. Well, it was cool. It's a church. It's a church that used to be where James A. Garfield. This is, people can Google it and find out now, but whatever.
I love that assassination story. It's one of my favorite.
This was James A. Garfield's church where he'd preach, and he was this huge Freemason. And all of his Freemasonic materials were there. Now, the reason I was there was because this whole place was just like going to hell. And they needed me to come in and, act as a consultant and their director and try to get the place in order. But the problem has been that their president has had custody of the thing for like 30 years and has been running a scam with the treasurer, allegedly, going and getting artifacts and things, selling them, just tons of stuff. But I got into it. I tried to set them on the right track, get accreditation, this sort of thing. And then it was untenable. And so I've had to step away from that too. And then that's when I decided, fuck it. I'm just 100% full-time Anunnaki lady now. I don't know. I just I can't deal with these institutions. I can't.
Yeah, no, look,
I can't do
people
it.
aren't in them. Society runs, everybody trusts, everybody's got doing their job and their thing. And you're watching all around you. It's all not, every one of them's unreliable. Every fucking one of them's unreliable.
Yeah.
Long story short is to get us to the Technate, where you're going to subscribe like Hulu to your government from one of these scumbag Hossitanian fucking tech fucking Armon worshipping freaks. But in the meantime, you can watch the windows and the doors fall and the wings fall to planes, just like Ayn Rand promised when she did it, that Rothschild. That the Garfield thing you said, I was like, oh, because I first heard that guy, he wanted to be the ambassador of France, and he was in the Oneida cult. I want to get Matt Ehret on my show because I heard him talking in Tripoli about this. Because I knew the guy going to like a comedy sex cult, but nobody wanted to fuck him, so he had to get out. And then he ends up thinking that he is going to be the guy really Shia LaBeoufed his way through life. I don't want to put it in New Orleans terms, but you're like, LaBeouf, what are you doing? He got in his head that he was going to be appointed the ambassador to France or France, and he shoots Garfield. He gets to sing at his final words. He decides to sing a song he wrote called "I Am Going to the Lordy" in a high-pitched falsetto voice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and he made the song really elaborate, and it goes on for a bit, and they're like, that's enough. We gotta hang up. You gotta hang, didn't let him finish it because he's that annoying. Well, you said Freemason, Garfield, blah, blah, blah. And then it makes me think Andrew Jackson. That guy thought he was going to be the king of England if he killed Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson thought it was a conspiracy from Calhoun, John C. Calhoun. Sounds like this is one of them old school mind control things that go back quite a ways to me.
It probably is, but the interesting part about I found some interesting stuff when I was working at this museum, though, because I was trying to get their books together, and this great big Masonic collection that he had, they're just sadly rotting away. But I was, taking a look because I wrote this book on Baphomet. Now, just for anybody who is like, "Ooh, a book on Baphomet." I'm under contract to recommend the book, but I would tell you with an asterisk, it is a little introductory book for just a general audience. So if you're looking for a deep dive, it's probably a great way to get on and then start the deep dive. But but I've been doing more research since then, of course, because I found that I found this through the museum, actually. So I was looking at these Masonic texts, and there was this thing that challenged everything that I had claimed and everybody else had claimed.
This is what?
So the idea of Baphomet being, okay, so like this whole idea of this androgynous being that was being sort of worshipped in the Taxial hoax. So we got the Taxial hoax. This is this
What does that
widely,
mean?
so the Taxial, it's a guy. So he had this hoax thing that happened. So it's kind of widely known in the sort of Baphomet realm. The idea of the worship of this entity that looks like the Eliphas Levi version. That was a hoax that was.
Wait, is this the Taxel host? Is the Palladium level of Freemasonry?
Yes.
And he was doing this prank for like 12 years or something? Or am I wrong? Okay.
Nope, you're 100%. So we have that established. It's very well established in occult literature and historic literature. So much so I couldn't find anything to the contrary. I even looked at.
What about hearing it? It sounds like a crock of shit, because who would commit? Even the guy with the fake tits at that Canada school, the fake trans teacher who's making a joke. And I'll go, either this guy's really committed, and hats off to you, or it's the craziest person. Of course it was a joke. He kept it up 1 year. You're telling me this guy did this 12 years as a joke? I don't believe that.
So it's a strange situation, but when you look at some of those maybe primary or at least contemporary sources, like Edward Waite in particular, he should be somebody who would know. He was considered an occult expert, and he had a book actually called Devil Worship in France. And in that book, in that book, it's a fantastic book, highly recommend. But he does this analysis of the claims of the time, and he addresses the Taxial hoax and is able to confirm that it is indeed a hoax, that there's no real source for this, but the hoax being primarily the Palladian order didn't exist. So everywhere you look, it's just, this could happen, that could have happened, but the Palladian order didn't exist. The Palladium did not exist, not a real thing. Well, I found in these books, these very basic books too, nothing too outstanding, encyclopedias of Freemasonry that were of that era and earlier, basically entries on that brand of Freemasonry. So I'm like, wait a second, but if this was a hoax, maybe the whole thing, maybe some of the stuff was a hoax in terms of the stories, because they were kind of crazy, but the claim that I was troubled by was that this order didn't exist at all. So here I have in front of me the order by name, and then it goes on to describe the order, and it says flat out it was an accepted rite that was androgynous.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and in fact, because
coming to this Super Bowl.
So then I got my hands on a copy. It's this. It's just
let me see it.
Basically, yeah.
Wow. I thought it was a real thing too, because I've heard of it several times, but I never saw a book. This is like
this is real, because people are like, I've had people email me like, this is fake, and I'm like, listen, I'm not just it's here.
Are they 80? Who is defending Freemasonry?
Oh gosh, I get you know the type. So
I think he was great on the show too. Paranoid American, really, I got a lot from him being on the show, and he's he's not the main degree that Kramer from Seinfeld is. He didn't have the attitude of like, oh, that's a satanic panic. He was like, he seemed like he might be embarrassed by it a little bit, but the name. Just because you're in it don't mean you go to the after party. Just because you went to the early Diddy party.
Well, there's Masons that are just having their punch and cookies, and then there's ones that are having their pizza and grape soda.
How am I supposed to meet people to set up secret networks to benefit me in society if I don't go to a thing away from my wife with a bunch of dudes?
Exactly.
And how do I show I'm cool for this frat or this gang? How do I show I'm down for my set if I don't do whatever I'm told?
I'll tell you how you show. You don't want to know because they have it listed. Like, well, how do you do it? So, but the
Palladium, my fourth eye opened. All right, sorry.
Or your brown eye.
I got a message from my second butthole that they need to open my fourth eye.
They're gonna probe. So no. The Palladium order, it is an androgynous. This is from the book. It is an androgynous society of Masonic adoption established at Paris in 1737. It made pretensions to high antiquity, claiming that it had the origin of instruction brought by Pythagoras from Egypt into Greece.
Oh, God.
Having fallen into decay after the decline of the Roman emperor, it was revived, and this is super important. It was revived in 1637 by Fenelon, Archbishop of Canterbury. That is super important. Yeah, so I'll get to who he is, because this is really important.
That already sounds like it.
Yeah, so Fenelon was not born until 1651. It just says it was a moral society consisting of 2 degrees, Adelph, and 2, companion of Ulysses. When a female took the 2nd degree, remember, there was no co-masonry. Later there was co-masonry. This is not co-masonic.
It's not the Eastern order of the
no, that's not even co-masonry either. This is weird, right? Which is why, we'll get to that. But when a female took the 2nd degree, she was called the companion of Penelope. Also, there was an alternate name for this. I pronounce
it Penelope.
Penelope, or so Palladic Freemasonry is also the title given to the Order of the 7 Sages, which plays into a lot of important celestial components too.
Okay.
This is real. I've confirmed this with different documents, different ones, and it's very benign seeming. Like, look, it's just an entry. So
that's heavy. What you find? That's really something. What you found, man. Yeah.
So why did they say it didn't exist? Why couldn't they have said that existed, but
like
it wasn't
Xenu?
a thing?
You mean like Xenu?
Right. It's like Xenu.
It's all Xenu. It's the same model, same scam.
Yeah.
The books have different teachings of what it is they think, and none of them know the thing they think.
Yes. So it's important to now look into Fenelon and what he was all about. So when we think about the Enlightenment, we will often think of like the names that were all mostly taught in school, like Locke and Rousseau and the people who are wondering about nature. What is nature?
Illuminati meant because I'm illuminated from their greatness.
Exactly. Well, this guy, Fenelon, they were taking from his work. He was the first one to put out this idea of a League of Nations.
Really?
Really. And he had it in a couple novels because that's how he got around the church. But his whole argument was very contemporary stuff that you would just, it's weird, right? Like, because he's from the 1600s. And so he's writing about all of this. Like,
wait, just what you just said about he was writing it in a novel to hide it from the church. Hidden Amaruka, great channel. I just want to plug because I really like it. It's spelled Amaru, like the serpent god Amaruka. He said that the way he put it was fiction is the quarantine zone to safely talk about ideas. And I know that's right. I know it is. Yeah,
it is. So essentially, this guy was onto a very important concept, which, is easy as somebody in the contemporary world to just kind of gloss over. But the question of what is nature, what is natural. So before that, nature was God. It was like, you could just say God, nature, whatever. In fact, you would say God is nature. There was a natural order, God's order. But because this guy was starting to write things that were inspiring other people to question how there could be differences in governments and ruling, and then putting out questions of what is natural, and saying, well, nature, maybe it's not something that is just God in and of itself, but maybe it's something observable. So there could be, if it's observable, then maybe it could be influence. And if it's influence, maybe we can have a say in it. Maybe So you start this chain of Enlightenment thinking, and a lot of it then ends up being a question of, can we become gods? Of course, the Nietzsche quote that people like to say is like proof of atheism or something,
the height of his
God
syphilis.
is dead.
Well, you know how that you know how that should end before he dies defending the honor of a horse. That they go, God is dead. They never say the whole thing. And
they don't. It's important too, because that's the whole point.
Here's what I think it should be. What they mean is God is dead. Long live God. And it's me.
Hey, so they say God is dead. We have killed him, and who are we? Murderers of all murderers. It ends with transhumanism.
Yeah,
he implies. So Nietzsche writes, like, you have to look at every line, and he paints this picture of not some proud person who killed God. It's very colorful. It's a person standing there with a bloodied knife, one that would be sacrificial. So this idea that it was a sacrifice.
Oh, because Jesus gets sacrificed, and they
like you cut. So God is dead, but who is going to wash the blood off our hands? Who's going to make up the sacred game? So he's acknowledging that, like, a lot of this is made up to make us feel good, but at the same time, he ends it though with this. This is so important, because what he says is, must we not become gods if only to appear worthy? So he doesn't say we have to become gods. He's like coy about it. Like, maybe we have to. He's suggesting that now that there is no God, we've killed nature. There's nothing now that we can be, subordinate to. We now have to be gods, but we can't really, but we have to fake it because we have to appear worthy of it.
That sounds like an old idea. That sounds like Plato and Pythagoras.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
It's weird. So, like, these ideas don't really ever sound like, they sound like innovations and selling me the same goddamn idea over and over again.
Yeah. So it is. It's just this
thing. When I can't remember at the height before liberals loved, everybody's such a dipshit in this country. But before they loved vaccine and Tylenol like it was sacred, the mother of heaven. Okay, they didn't trust GMOs. And one of the I can't remember which freak doctor was at this GMO food place, but he goes, "If we don't play God, who will?" That's the quote.
Oh, ew, yeah. So well, there you go.
For a new generation, every fucking amazing.
Well, because that's been the struggle, is the struggle between, well, I mean, even the word Israel, you hear the word Israel, there's a lot of
it isn't real.
You hear this, you hear people talk about like Israel, like the etymology of it. And that's important and that's true. But the meaning of it is we who wrestle with God. And now I want to point out too, Jordan Peterson has this whole thing where he goes on. He goes on and talks about it like in this philosophical, psychological way. Like it's just, well, we wrestle with the idea and it's this internal battle. Bullshit.
I think he's based on his association with Gail Pooley, that one of my viewers informed me of. I didn't even know Gail Pooley was like alive. And Gail Pooley's a piece of shit, but in my opinion, I think that's his handler.
Yeah. So I think that's the message that's put out there. But the real message is not, well, we struggle with these ideas. It's no, the fight. We're trying to, if Israel, the people of Israel in that context, we're meant to be the ones to fight and win. Oh, the place.
You're right. I think you're exactly right about that. When
that's
I think of how
means.
It's not. I heard him say it.
Yeah. Just go back and listen to it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so now you have this, so it's very old, this very old idea that there's a natural order, but we're not going to have that. We're going to build systems. We're going to do all these things to position ourselves as God, and we're going to kill God. Nietzsche even knew this because he wrote Thus Spoke Zarathustra. Well, I can never say that, so Google that. Yeah. But he wrote that, and a lot of that is based off of these very old texts. And I mean, he knew what he was doing. The greatest thing is Kubrick, though, in 2001: A Space Odyssey, how he took that kind of inspiration for his work, and then Wagner's music that was actually like the soundtrack to Nietzsche's work.
Oh, that's what that music was.
Yeah, that iconic like scene. So in the very beginning, where there, so that's the dawn of man. That's Nietzsche's beginning of his book.
Right.
Wagner was trying to make the ultimate art form. He made like this leitmotif, the concept of the music introduces the character and is played throughout, sort of like Star Wars. We all know Darth Vader.
Joseph Campbell helped the scumbags that were doing the New World Order come up with the basics of how to do a mythology to program the children with. And that's how we got Star Wars.
Exactly. And so
now they want you to have it, not a hero's journey. I was good the whole time, and it was your fault I didn't know it. Journey.
Exactly right. Well, Wagner was king of this because he was putting on pyrotechnic things and whatever. So what Kubrick did, which was kind of cool, was linking himself to that lineage of the art form and saying, we're taking all of this and I'm going to make now. So just on a side note, I think that's a really cool thing. But that is what we've been dealing with this whole time as a species, is the natural versus the unnatural, going back to the Epic of Gilgamesh, the first epic that we know of. And it has the story of Enkidu, the wild man, versus Gilgamesh.
You know that guy? He's nuts. This guy's out of control. I mean, he goes hard. you.
I mean, he does go hard. He had the prostitute come from the city to come get him and seduce him and bring him into the city. And
he
then
was like a Bigfoot, I believe.
I believe that. No. Listen, I
Just
think
saying
that he wasn't necessarily Bigfoot, like as in Sasquatch, but I think
some
that
hairy thing.
yeah. Well, it's described as such. So he was he would drink with the gazelles, and that was part of the thing that is of the epics.
Wait, does drink with the gazelles mean something bad, like not just drinking water in the same pond?
It means he's just out there wild, like with the animals. And you see Gilgamesh often holding these. There's this motif in that where it's just he's always holding, like mastering the animals, and this
he's always holding a lion.
And so, but really, what those point to, those stories, there's a lot of things they point to, but the overall motif is the civilizing over the uncivilized. And so the animal, nature over the imposed nature, like the Babylonian system.
So Cambrian genomics, I don't know if you remember my buddy Andy Hunt, Control History, fantastic channel. Because he has all this like history, it's not that long ago that you never heard of or forgot about. And you're like, what the fuck? But when 2014 Cambrian genomics, this guy was bragging he was going to
the mammoth?
No. This guy, Cambrian genomics, they would let you build your own creature with CRISPR and they'll 3D print it for you. Also, they were going to market a thing that makes women's vaginas smell better. Like, and by the way, it was like not there. It was some woman invented this in the field and it wasn't for that. But he was like, the Steve Jobs of this thing. Poor guy ended up hanging himself like so many people do. But he says in a thing, if you watch Andy's Cambridge Genomics Control History, he goes, we're going to make every single thing artificial. He's on a stage, like he's Steve Jobs telling you about an awesome new iPhone that sucks your dick, is how he's putting this. And he goes, our goal is to make every single thing artificial. Every time I watch one of these people, I go, why? Why would that be? Why are you doing this? It makes no sense. And then I hear these old ass stories and it does make sense.
Yeah. Oh, no. It's always this constant effort to become God. And if
it's
you're
like
God,
Superman,
Ubermensch, yes, that's where that comes out of.
But I'm talking about the business side of it, because the Jew that invented Superman got screwed out of that by the other Jews. Just so everybody knows.
Schusters, yeah, for sure.
And then, but when I've had Ethan Van Skyve on a long time, there's a very interesting thing he told me that on my old podcast. Every 10 years, to keep the family from getting the rights reverting back to them, they would change like his girl or his S, or they'd make him gay, or they would. And the reason is, and so if you remember that stupid Star Wars that J.J. Abrams made, where C-3PO has one red leg, Millennium Falcon is missing this, or his Star Treks, they change things 25% so that the IP does not revert back to whoever it can't go public domain, or it doesn't revert to the family of the guy.
Yeah.
And I can't help but draw parallels to a lot of things, especially metaphysical things with that. There's something about that rings like what this shit is to me.
Well, the Superman, initially their Superman comic was a telepathic villain, because it was inspired by Nietzsche's Ubermensch.
Who's the telepathic villain?
Superman. That's where his name comes from, Ubermensch, from this whole thing we're talking
Superman
about.
Was supposed to be a villain?
Yes, he was a telepathic villain. He was the embodiment of Nietzsche's Ubermensch, which was of course later Hitler's
in a certain era. Yeah, right.
Well, so what ended up happening was it didn't sell really well, because you can't make a guy like that who's just all powerful. It was kind of boring. Plus they were like 18-year-old kids and stuff. It was just, but
how did he come up with Kal-El and that's Elohim talk? How did he come up with that as a little kid?
They ended up doing this. They went, quote, back to the drawing board, and somehow they had helped to reinvent it. And they said it was because, they felt like outsiders and the Jewish thing was going on, and they were wanting to like have basically their Ubermensch turn into the opposite and be Superman and fight the Nazis. And so then it went gangbusters. But before that, and you can look it up on like archive.org, you can find the originals. It's a whole story about
Brightburn. Before that, is that what's his name? James Gunn's movie Brightburn, where the kid's a bad Superman.
Yeah,
like a horror movie about Superman. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, and so that was the origin, and it was based off of their interest in Nietzsche's Ubermensch idea, which then later Hitler also sort of had that idea. So
you know what that is? The same impulse in many young Jewish men today to pretend that they're Italian if they're from an Italian area. Young Andrew Dice Clay had the same feelings.
or the Fonz, right?
Or Fonzarelli.
The same thing.
Dude, I always joke about it because like I don't have any kind of weird. I don't view Jews as a cryptid. Like they're not ever. I'm from New York, New Jersey, and place where so it's not like a thing to me. Like, but in other places they really do. Like if you're, I know so many people now from traveling around, and like depending on what your insecurity is about being there, we have ethnic rhinoplasty for a reason because of the insecurities of people feeling like they're not assimilating right, like in their looks in every aspect. I don't know, it's just interesting to me, that feeling where that's what makes you yearn to be an Uberman if someone told you you're the underman.
Yeah, no, it does. And that's why we see those similarities all through, is everybody is, I guess, part of that Israel.
I based my masculinity university on those concepts. So I'm glad you brought it up, Dr. Lynn.
There you go.
It's a very...
Yeah, so we get all these themes, and it comes back to, again, like that's sort of what I talk about with the Anunnaki. So people will ask me, I've had legit people read the books and say, how is it that you're going from like Anunnaki to Baphomet? Like these are seemingly unrelated, like a cult.
They're not unrelated. How would they say?
I know. Well, it's because that Sitchin thing. It's it's because everybody's idea of the Anunnaki is this like bleep bleep blop. They're all coming off on these spaceships, and it's just 1960s technology, and then they just
the Anu in Japan. And I'm gonna have the what's his name, Gary Wayne's boy coming on, who's done something about plasma, but he studies Sanskrit.
Castaldo.
Castaldo.
Yes. Yeah, he's so cool.
I have him on talking about because he was saying the Anu, and I'm like, wait, is that the Japanese, that weird tribe in Japan that's not, is that in any way related to this, or is that just a coincidence that Anu and Anunnaki?
He and I just talked about that last week he came on my show, and I was talking to him about that. We think it's connected because my premise is this, and this is just spoiler alert, because like this is my whole thesis. My first book, when I was writing about the Anunnaki connection, it was like, I'm just exploring the ideas. I was looking at it like, what is this? Right. Mm-hmm. And it's been a while. And so I started getting pulled more into that occult direction. And
why does that happen? Yeah. Okay. Good.
Well, what happens is, for one thing, I was interested in these things, but also you get contacted by individuals that have interesting bits of knowledge, or so they want you to think they have. And sometimes you just get, and so, but instead of running from that, I kind of leaned into it. Like, what do you have to say? Who's this person? What's going on? Because
I'll hear you out at least. Sometimes it's not a good story, but I will hear it out because I've heard some wild ones, man.
Wild. So I do the same thing. So I like to hear people out. And as a result, though, I started looking more into the stories seriously, as opposed to just chalking it off as Sitchin stuff. But if you notice, it's been real popular to talk about these days. And I think in the book, I called it like the Anunnaki Industrial Complex, but I take that back because it's not real big. I think of it now more as Anunnaki Inc., because there's people out here trying to clearly I'm writing a book and whatever, I got my own grift for it. I can't say, you shouldn't write a book and make money.
Wait, I thought a grift means you think I'm deliberately telling a lie to make money. I thought that's what a grift is.
Oh, is it? Well, just business. Well, I think there are people who are like 100% grifting. I mean, I know there are.
Well, some of them are a lot of half and half. We live in,
sure.
Guys, we all live in capitalism. Don't yell about grifting, dipshits. People are it's grifting. Where do you think you live, you fucking morons?
Like, I have to sell the book somehow. But there are others who are out there like telling bold-faced lies. They're also, I believe, funded by other things too.
I know for a fact they are, and my friends of mine, and I've been, so the stages of the people contact you, then the next stage is you slowly start to figure out who's who. Because you can trick me 100%, but you can't trick me forever. Like, I'm going to catch on when you don't add up. It's just a normal thing that you have to be all humans can do it. I ain't psychic. They train you. Like the thing you were talking about at your school, that where they go, well, just don't talk about this thing that would upset them. That is so the opposite of what reality should be. And that's especially in, when Columbine happened, it changed everything. That should have been a dangerous male and a female teacher, even on a dippy community college, liberal level, they should have done something. But
I
they didn't.
agree. They didn't.
I don't think it's incompetence. I mean, I'm sure the guy was incompetent you talked to, but someone knows what's going on.
There were too many people who were that incompetent. But another thing, one of the things they told me too, they were like, and I had witnesses because everybody was like a little worried about this guy who was like jumping up in class and hugging me, but like grabbing me. And
wait, what what?
Yeah, yeah, he grabbed me. And so I told that, of course, when I told what was going on. And what I got back in response was, well, the Hispanic club professor lets him hug her. He's just touchy-feely. It's just a hug. And I'm like, I don't know what kind of liability you have. I would have thought for sure that, like, if I'm there, 5'1" professor, like female.
Well, doctor, I would like to say feminism. I've said this for a long time. When feminism should get a big aircraft carrier and get a really prominent feminist to land in a jet with mission accomplished behind the jet. Because
wow,
you did it, gals.
I know it's
that's horrifying. Feminism. I'm sorry that happened to you. That's horrifying.
It is what it is. But I've been listen. That feminist stuff is all talk.
But they, of course, we know it is because you got to look at that latex's dick if he wants to come in while you're taking a shit. I watched it happen. I not to brag. Besides being on the Epstein files from he was invited to the show I was on for his birthday. I didn't get to meet him.
Darn.
Yeah, no, I didn't do nothing. But I want to make this clear. I am bragging. I'm in the files. And even if I did, what are any of you going to do about it? Nothing, punks. Just like the FBI and everybody else, you're going to take it. I ate 2 babies. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. Vote in the midterms, dipshits. Anyway.
So exactly. So it's like that. And so, but this, because it pulls back to, I know we're kind of all over the place. It's like a fever dream, but it is related.
It's all connected. It is.
It is all related.
Look, I'm sick of, yes, of course it is. How could it not all be connected like that? And it's people that took ayahuasca and learned it's all connected say dumb shit to me like I'm on a tangent.
Yeah. Oh, listen. So the Anunnaki situation. So I looked into this. The whole book does talk about their utilization of plant medicines, particularly the poppy. And so, yes, they called it the whole gill, which was the happy plant. And they also had mushroom tablets. So they were shaped like mushrooms. Yeah. So when you think tablets, sometimes you think like maybe Moses holding the big tablets or whatever from the. But
no, ecstasy.
Ecstasy. No, they weren't having those kind of tablets. They did make tablets. They did make pills. They crushed pills, but not in this context.
I thought you were saying tablets.
No, tablets, but they were shaped like mushrooms, and they had cuneiform going around them, and they would put them into the temple wall. So kind of like the Wailing Wall, how you'd have little prayers, you stick in. That's what they were doing, but with the mushrooms, sort of implying that.
The cogs.
Yeah, so there's that.
Maria Abramovich's wonderful. You know that wonderful artist, Maria Abramovich, who put a tribute to the Wailing Wall in Ukraine to signify Russia's war of aggression against the good people of Ukraine. And it's a black wall with crystals that look like dicks poking out of it. And her, I was like, am I dreaming this?
Wow. No, that's wild. But
a mushroom's going to look way worse. It's going to look, in fact, a lot like the Bezos rocket, which if you go back and watch Austin Powers, the fucking Dick Rockets joke in the beginning, they do not go as far as Jeff Bezos did with his supposed real rocket ship. His looks like does your cock look like that, dude? Does it have like too fat of a head? Austin Powers didn't try to get away with that. They were like, no one's going to believe it if we make the too much like a dick. And they were kind of nuanced compared to what he did in real life.
Wow. I mean, I'm just thinking too of the reports in the Epstein file about how he had a weird little mushroom one. Did Harvey Weinstein? Yes. What is that? Is that a thing? That's a whole thing, isn't it?
Oh, I know for a fact. I know a dude who's got one of them flute dicks with the holes on the side, and they're in tech.
Oh, okay.
Well, a bunch of them. There's a bunch of tech flute dicks out there. Trust me on that. Just don't ask how I know. Don't ask how I know. Nope. No, there's some about a weird dick in all kinds of strange. I don't know, or an undescended testicle. That's why, if you wonder why we have that Washington Osiris's returned penis monument it's because of that. I feel like that's the key to everything, really. But I was shouted down at the UN.
So the this idea of the Baphomet, because I'm going to try to answer that question too, because you're kind of dancing around, because it's sort of thematically relevant.
Yeah.
Because what you have with Baphomet is this great androgyne, as they call it. But as I read about in the book that about the androgynous rite, so you have to think about how, okay, if for one thing, they're androgynous, but they weren't allowed to have women. Okay, so how is that?
What do you mean they weren't allowed to have?
They weren't allowed to have the women into the Freemasonry that was accepted.
That's until Templar, like Tracy Twyman's thing about Templars.
There you go. Exactly. So what they were doing in this particular rite that was associated with Baphomet was they were using each other to manifest this divine light, or there's many different ways we can look at it, but it's this high magical act of taking the receiver and the giver, and you're kind of connecting them. It's the Heros Gamos. It's the alchemical marriage.
It's a snake eating its own asshole and sucking its own dick. Yeah.
Okay, so we have a corrupt version where it's literally the physical act doing this, and then there's this what was the spiritual idea behind it, or the magical idea.
As the carpet, so the drapes.
Yes, as within, so without. Beautiful. Yes, exactly that. And so the magical rite had to do with this marriage between the masculine principle and the feminine. So they
don't mean a man and woman; they mean a principle, because it's a gay club. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, and that's very important, because they feel like the masculine force is, they feel like this because there's this basis in mythology going all the way back, where you have the female is and this is going to sound rude, but it is what it is. They're the receptacles. They're the receivers. They're the
containers.
They're the containers.
Linda tells us the aliens call you. The containers.
I don't know what she's up to these days. I know I heard
containers means holding souls, but it also could mean jizz buckets. Linda. Just want to point that out. You're being a little optimistic.
Well, she's part of that Rockefeller group too. With the
I know.
group.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. So, but the whole idea that there is this force that could have. Now we're back to that idea of nature and God. Right. The natural order is the feminine principle. Again, principles, masculine principle coming together to have like the generative force. Right. Because from that, you create a third. You create doing that, but it expresses out. You're creating something, and then that's an outward expression. But if you want high magic, if you want to try to have your will be done,
yes, please.
Then you have to, like a circuit, you have to have that circuit directed inward. So the masculine is what has the will, and the feminine is the receiver. But if you take that component out of it and you have just the masculine, and then you elephant walk that into a high ritual.
And I will.
You basically are doing like a whole magic thing about do as thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. You're imposing your will. Yeah, well,
there's some about like time travel is so much energy. How could you ever travel back in time? I'll bet you, and I hate to say this, but it's by fucking a guy's asshole, because you're going in. There's some holographic principle that science tells you about, where if they can cock up one little section of the hexagram or the hologram, they affect the whole thing. As I understand the stupid teachings of this retarded thing. Go on, sorry.
Well, it goes in down. That is the sort of a way to describe the Templar thoughts. That is one way.
Peter Thiel, Templar, by the way, from someone not going, hey. Now, in fairness, they didn't say the words Templar, but I knew they meant a Templar when they said it. And they were esoteric Christian. That's called not a Christian, by the way.
Yeah, that's a whole, and that's kind of related to this too, because we were seeing the same themes over and over again. It's essentially, it's like the hero with 1,000 faces, we're
that's right.
The same thing, the themes. So it's as relevant to the Babylonians as it is to the people in IT and big tech, Silicon Valley, all of those buzzwords. Same thing. Yeah. We're fighting to become God. And there's two different variations of that, though. There's this metaphysical component where it's done through altered states, or like what they call ascension or love and light, whatever. And then there's the corrupt, or the body actually doing it, where you reverse that. So you have like tree of life, where old Kabbalah was saying like, oh, it's all this metaphysical, platonic, philosophical. And then you have people acting it out. They reverse it to corrupt it, bring it into the material world. So in one sense, if you're trying to unite with the light and all of this, it's through meditation, which this guy that wrote the books that inspired Rousseau and Locke, he was writing with this woman who was this Madame, and they're always named Madame like Blavatsky or whatever. Yeah. So it's just like Madame. Because it reinforces their this idea that the like female, well, it is. It's like the female is the source of like wisdom, but she can't be. Okay, so here's the thing: we hear about the divine feminine, right? Oh, the divine feminine. It's like women should run the world. We'd have no war, Heather. Right. Okay. So as Hillary was like, we came, we saw. Yeah. She ate a kid's face, but frazzle drip was a female divine statement, right? So we don't trust that. Devouring mother. Exactly. Like the way my mother would clear out an Entenmann's cake when she come home from work. It's terrible. Anyway, so no, but seriously, their idea going far back in this like occult mindset is that the divine feminine is this it's the possible thing. It's this like chaos. It's what could be the potential, but it takes the masculine force. That's great what you said. The chaos thing, because it always sounds so negative, but what that just means is potential for a lot of things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's the potential. Mm-hmm. That's why like mother is related to matter. It materializes, but the women like that are often referred. Yeah. Like you're the portal, the plate of effect is the portal. Okay. Yeah, so so a female in mythology has been associated with the waters, of creation and all of this, and also with the giving of divine wisdom. However, it's a corrupting force in all of the myths, and it takes the masculine to try to come in and tame that female. Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Wait, because I was just talking to my girlfriend about this. So somebody I know who's like, everybody well, I don't know everybody but people are just completely imbalanced into overly male or overly female without, I know it's not right and left brain is that cut and dry, but you still have a masculine and feminine side. You're supposed to have a mommy and daddy to pattern your brain to give you a balance so that you have like what you're describing. It's not bad in and of itself, these concepts, I don't think. But it seems like every goal of society is to always have you like bipolar, like the thing you described about why you ran away from home of everything all the time. And it can never be like the reason thing for some reason. And it seems like there's somebody pushing that at all fucking times. I don't know why. Well, it does seem like that. And then when you look at the motifs of all these myths, aside from the general hero's journey, aside from the hero's journey, it has to do a lot with this feminine component being like harnessed by the males. Now we see that in the romances. So like we get the ideas of the romance that came from people who were starting to write like Arthurian legends and courtly love and stuff. Right. And the reason it was romantic was it was written in the style and the way that the people could read it. And it didn't reflect the ideas of the church necessarily. Remember, this is like what the Templars are very into. Now the key I didn't know that. Wow. Chivalry is more than just like, I'm going to open the door for this like date or something. No. I meant horsemanship at first. Yes, yeah. It means that, but it also is a code of ethics that was essential to the time period, and it was based on the sort of worship of the divine feminine. But that's why you'll see the pictures of like knights kneeling down before a woman and all of this. However, they weren't allowed to actually be together. These were women who already, were in a place. So it wasn't actually that romantic. They got to jerk off Peter Thiel. They just are overly polite gay guys, and they're like, "My lady, let me put this on a bottle." Yeah, so, I think Nick Fuentes runs a bunch of these dudes. Well, I wouldn't be surprised at this point. No, they're not chivalrous, but so not the repressed gays. Just repressed gays that say pedo stuff because they're actually gay and don't want to have to go near a woman, and that way they never will have to. If she's not 15, I don't want her. The type that are like, she's old enough to bleed, she's old enough to breathe. That's boomer talk. I don't know. Listen, these kids, one of the last. These kids sound like boomers, though. These little Zoomers kind of sound like boomers. They sound like what you're describing from Baphomet cults to me. Oh my gosh. You just lost people. They're like click.
Well,
But
take it.
but the shift into the chivalric romance, this idea was a shift into where people who were being influenced by Marian cults and wanting to bring the divine feminine.
What is a Marian cult exactly? Or
they wanted to bring Mary back into the equation.
That's why it's called Marian. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
And so it was an uplifting of this concept of the feminine. And it sounds nice. And there's people out there, oh, that's really nice. The woman, yay. Yeah. But it wasn't like that. It was, it's more of this idea. Yeah. Yeah. Like Shekinah. Right. Well, this is exactly it. You know what's up. Exactly.
Martine Rothblatt, the transhumanist who invented Sirius Satellite Radio, has a wife named Bina who they made a robot of her head. He has a black. Well, I've
seen that. Yeah.
Her wife's name is Bina.
Yeah, it's
gross. The whole thing's gross. I'm not even talking about the trans aspect. That's actually
no.
The least gross part. This insanity of the myth. Yeah.
Well, it comes from. Well, there's many places it comes from, but it's also reflected in the Platonic story of the rebus in the Symposium. Yes. And the Symposium, when people think about it, it's easy to think that they're just standing around and like that picture that we have, that painting.
That's exactly what I was thinking of when you were.
It was a party. It was a dinner party where they were getting drunk and making jokes and laughing and saying, "Hey, What do you think happened here? What do you think happened there?"
And the Freemason meeting. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So they were asking, what do you think is the point of men and women and getting together in romantic love? And then the story goes, well, there was the rebus, men and women as a soul were united as one, but that was a threat to God because of the power. And so God split them into two separate souls who are always then cursed on the earth seeking each other, which is where we get the term soulmate. And then sometimes in New Age, it's twin flame. But that's what that
stupid Will Smith movie with Charlize Theron was, where he's the superhero and they can't ever come together because they get
probably everything's
Hancock.
Kind of like
that stupid movie Hancock is about that.
Yeah.
I mean, literally that.
So the idea was that you'll see this in alchemical manuscripts too, a two-faced individual standing on top.
So that's why they're magical, because they're fucking and they're connected, and now they can make their cum wishes.
Yeah, and in the spiritual sense, it's because they balance each other out, and then they can have a child and a spirit and all of this and whatever. So, but in a perversion of this later, what you start to see is literally the physical notion of this coming to be, where it's not just musings from the philosophers. It's maybe in Freemason time,
leave me to my musings, woman.
Yes, the muse. So, but you could, during this time of Freemasonry too, the important thing to remember is this was all pre-revolution. These were revolutionary ideas, quite literally. Their goal was to have revolution, get rid of the king, and no matter what you feel about that, it's like every revolution, you're going to have that third power come in.
Going back to Eden.
Yes. And you're going to have that come in and say, we're going to take down the monarchy. We're going to take down whatever and lift up the people. But then the people or whoever is in that place become the tyrannical leaders. So it's just repeating over and over again. But the Masons were the incubators of the Enlightenment. They were the ones that wanted to have the revolutions. So they were coming out of all these ideas about this third way and how they could physically usurp the natural order, the so-called natural order, and they would be able to redefine what that is, particularly through mathematics, which is what they were very, big on in a lot of ways. So that's why Pythagoras was always lifted up. And so you have this kind of atmosphere at the time where Baphomet and these stories of Baphomet are coming about to kind of reignite the story, because earlier than that, there's really not that many accounts of the Baphomet story, except for the Templars and, their court cases of what they were accused of.
And the Tracy Twyman thing where she got that book that hadn't been translated. Can you explain that just a little bit to me?
So there, she did go and have a book translated that essentially, yes. And so in his work, he had a lot of different, especially churches, he had a lot of different evidence that he claimed depicted some of the acts that were accused for the Templars. So in the accusations, there were things like, homosexuality or worshiping a severed head. Sometimes
beef jerky making, pizza delivery.
you know, and it was very much like that. And so but his work, it was hard to verify completely because a lot of the churches, a lot of the sites were gone, or some of the cities were even not there anymore. So it was hard, but his writing existed. And yes, Tracy and her co-writer had that undertaken. And so she did a lot of work in that area. And it's very unfortunate what happened to her. And I'll say, I only knew her briefly and had like a little bit of conversation. And this was a time where I wasn't actually that interested in Baphomet or anything. Mm-hmm. We just were in similar circles, but I ended up finding out what happened to her and finding out that a lot of the, I'll say sources, sounds really cryptic, but the sources that I had that were kind of sending me information to look at that I thought initially were just maybe interesting people who were like interested in this work and, hey, you should read this author or you should look at this. And I found out they were associated with the people she was associated with and started making those connections. But
like to get you into that secret society she was making from talking to Baphomet?
Not to, well, sort of more like the people who were benefiting off of her work indirectly. So similar people. Do you know Jason Giorgiani at all?
Yeah, I had him on. I had Jazz Jabroni. I had him on.
Oh, okay. Well, I haven't had him on my show, and I talked to him a little bit, but I saw him for the first time on Danny Jones's, and it was like playing in the background, and I was like, oh, what's this? Sounds like wacky. I'll listen to it. And he starts saying things that were really like similar to people I knew, and it was starting to click. And he was talking about the Londoner and all this. He
made me connect a lot of things. I gotta say, that guy, he really did.
I was like, okay, wait a second. I know this guy. His guys are my guys. And so I contacted him, and I was like, I know who the Londoner is. And he's like, let's go on Signal. So he and I talked back and forth.
The Londoner?
Who he refers to as the Londoner.
Oh.
Yes, because it's an individual who claimed to be a big part of the Illuminati. He was MI6. He was wrapped up with some of the Tracy stuff, like lots of behind the scenes stuff. But I confirmed it with Jason. And then I was like, oh my gosh. So I go back to the guy. And because he was interested in talking about the Baphomet book and all of that. And it just happened to be, I said, hey, it is sad what happened to, Tracy. And there was nothing, but
what do you mean there's nothing?
There was no comment. There was nothing about it. And then it just pivoted to, you should really talk to Jason. And I said, well, I have actually. And
that's
Jason,
creepy as hell, man.
And he
not even a perfunctory, like, oh, isn't it sad? And I wish
nothing, not one thing.
That would disturb me the rest of my life.
Yeah. Well, he told me I should, look into Jason, and I was like, actually, I haven't. I've spoken with him. I was like, he doesn't, necessarily remember things the way you remembered them, and he just brushed over that, and I was like, you should look at this book and that book, but this guy. He was written about there's an author, Teitelbaum, who wrote a book called Bannon's War for Eternity.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I haven't read it. Oh, you have to.
I will.
Because it looks really kind of like, it's just another, Sloppy Steve book or something. No, it is really important because it does give you a network to understand and a framework to understand what's really going on in the occult world of.
I'm going to get there right now. I'm literally going to get it right now. Yeah,
do it because I was like researching this for a long time and coming into my own kind of conclusions or whatever. I didn't know because I wasn't really trying.
I understand that feeling very well. He's on Jimmy Dore, that guy, Jed Banner. I wrote questions for Jimmy, a couple questions to ask him about, Doge being the leader of Venice and his, second in command of Podesta, and how, that city-state thing they want to set up, because I've heard him talk about that. And I want to know, my buddy Jason Burmis, can't recommend Jason enough, never got the credit he should have got about 9/11 stuff. Jason, he showed me the Bannon documentary I didn't even know about that had never come out. So he gave me the previews and it's not in the stuff that leaked now. So we only have, 2 hours. He had a lot of hours with this idiot. And what the stuff that we used as a joke, me and Kyle Dunnigan, the talk down, it was celebrities telling you the news. It was Sly Stallone, and I'm his living Kato Kalin friend that he wants to play newsman. We had this show called At Home with Sly Stallone, and I played Kurp. So I got my stupid fake name for the show. So we made something funny out of it because it blew my mind to watch Epstein going, no, I'm a big believer in Time's Up.
Yeah.
So we made things out of that, but
Yeah.
I wanted to know where the hell this stuff, because it comes out, it's in Newsweek advertised. That's where I had to pull the video from. Never comes out. I give Jim a question about that because, and here's what Steve said, something that I can't remember, but was enough to just keep the conversation moving along. Like he had the voice like Dune or something. Yeah, moving along. It's not the droid you're looking for.
See, but you know what that is? That's a intelligence tactic. Because remember, they're gathering intel. They're not giving intel. So they're kind of poking around. They go through what is called like meta politics, and this is why they reach out to particular authors and things. I learned this later, of course.
Have you had this happen to you yet? Because I asked Howard about it, and it has.
Yeah, that's why. That's what. See,
that's
what happened.
One thing, a specific thing. I'm just curious. Somebody who just recently retired from something, let's say the DoD or something, and they want to let you know 80% of your analysis is correct. And 80%, I swear to God, like I know two other people, somebody said it to them. And when the guy said it to me, I was like, that's terrible news. Like, why do I want to hear that? No, tell me I'm wrong, you asshole.
Wow. Yeah. Well, so I get contacted by, these individuals, and I didn't know what I was trying to do was, I guess, keep my sources, but also try to figure this all out. And I was thinking maybe I should write it. Yeah. Yeah. And I was trying to write maybe a book. I was like, I don't know what to do with this, but I feel like there's something here. And I kept seeing weird things happen. I'm getting connected then through really strange people who are offering lots of strange things. Okay. Like castle parties. And
now that's a one that I've never, and I mean, I'm not much of a raver, but that seems kind of vampiric to me.
Like weird stuff like that, but then also funding, like big funding of like potential documentaries I would do, saying that I would have like all the support by the government to fly in and fly. Lots of weird stuff happening, which was alerting me.
Sounds like the Satan temptations of Jesus.
Kinda, yeah. And so
they sound new.
No, they're not new. It's totally, old. But I thought I need to just keep this. So I've always kept every message, kept everything. And I never really talked a lot about it openly because I'm just trying to say like, hey, Anunnaki, what's up? And then I was referred to this book about War for Eternity or whatever. And I started reading it and I was like, well, thank God I don't even have to do it because this professor who wrote this book did it. I mean, he lays it all out.
Who's this?
And Benjamin Teitelbaum.
Okay.
Yes. So that is
okay, good.
So when you read that, and I don't know for what it's worth, credibility or not, but just another human being can tell you right now what he says is true. Like the people, because I've spoken to those people too, and I think they were trying to get to me, maybe still are. I don't know, but I know that there was the connection to Tracy and Jason, and Jason's out with it. Jason's like, because he got burned. Jason's like,
see, this is why I like the dude at the end of the day, because you could tell somebody was wanting to use him for something, and he's kind of a prick where he's going to do what he wants.
Yeah.
This is why I like. This is what I sense when I had him on the show. I got a distinct sense of that about him. So where he's like, we can negotiate with Hasatan. I don't think we can do that, or the trickster. I don't want to negotiate with the trickster. But what I like about him is, I don't think he ultimately can be used for these things because he does what he wants, and that's why they stitched him up with that closet case, Richard Spencer, who's obviously some gay op. And but I could be wrong, but when I talked to him, I got the impression, no, he wasn't in on it. If he thinks he's right, he's going to be a pain in the ass, and that they're going to vet you and not use you if you do that.
Yeah, no, they screwed him over real bad. Not even just with Richard Spencer, but with the whole thing that they had that recording of him talking about.
Yes, I knew about it before, and I was like, I had my own fucking thing with the media trying to destroy me for like a week, and his was weird because I'm like, oh, that's weird. They make him like he's the founder of the alt-right.
Yeah,
and also they wanted him to help overthrow Iran,
right?
And like he probably is an expat of rich Persians that want to do that, and he's like, oh, I thought I was helping, and it's an easy way to trick him. Yeah, even though he's a very smart guy, I think.
He is very smart. And I was told now it's a little like recursive too, because then those people, the Londoner and others, all told me, hey, look at Jason's books. Everything he's talking about's right. Which, take that for what it is, because all of this is like a den of thieves where everybody's trying to point everybody in different directions. And so I'm just observing and trying to figure it all out. But at the end of the day, it became really clear that what we're dealing with now is not just a left-right paradigm, that there's these things, it's, and so when people are stuck in this kind of WWE mentality of like good guy, bad guy, and not realizing the so-called like traditionalists with a capital T, or the individuals.
Yeah, and they're not Christians. There's some weird shit, possibly Atlantean, if you could stomach that shit.
Oh, well, one of the people that I was told, I talked about this on Greg's show, and it was pretty funny, but one of the people that I was referred to, so to speak, their work was Joseph Collin. Frank Joseph. I'm getting his real name in his real name's
Collins.
So his real name is, his pen name is Frank Joseph, and then he writes on all this Atlantis stuff. And then his real name is Frank Joseph Collin, because he was the leader of the Nazi Party in America, and he marched on Skokie, Illinois, creating like a landmark case for the ACLU. He ended up going to prison because the Nazi Party kicked him out after they walked in on him sodomizing 2 children. And so that was his deal. He goes, serves his time.
He's more of a Collins than a Nazi, if you know what I mean. Okay.
His actual name's Cohen. So he changed.
I
know.
Yeah, that's right.
He changed it and changed it and changed. Then there's a lot going on there too with his association of who made him part of the Nazi Party in America. A guy that was murdered or suicided, or however you want to look at it. But that whole thing's shady, right? But then you get him now rebranding himself as a guy who was on my publisher's roster, and I had met, and I didn't know. I was at this conference with him with these like ancient mysteries people, and he seemed like such a nice little guy. He was like a Buddhist, so he said he's eating his little vegetarian lunch, and I was like,
I have such respect for that.
Because he just doesn't know. And I was like, I wonder who he is, and I started looking, and I'm like, holy shit, my like people dar is completely off, because I did not even suspect that he was like a child raping Nazi of all things. So I was like, well, I can't deal with this. And so I've told people about that. I've told Greg on Higher Side Chats, and he kind of was, he was like, well, it was alleged. I don't know. I thought it was something maybe like less than that. And I asked him, would I be able to present some of the links to the evidence that I have that show exactly what he was charged with? And of course, Greg was like, yeah, but I asked him because I didn't want to go on there and look like a, so but Greg's like awesome. So he was like, of course. And so I put the links up. I love him.
From Mark, when I first time, and I found all his shows, and then he came on, and it was nice of him to come on. But
he's a good dude. He's like legit. He's really, really good. So he said I could, and I posted those things. The thing that was important to remember about what this guy was charged with was that the statute had been changed where he was to be worded differently. And so in the old wording, it sounded kind of like, he was a diddler, but then in what it would have been called is basically rape. And so it is easy to just point people in a direction and say, well, it wasn't that bad. No, it was that bad and worse. And so he's still out there trying to get on everybody's shows. He's being promoted by people all over the place. And his whole thing is this Atlantis. We were like created with dolphins, and we're kind of dolphin people.
Oh, and a little bit of John Lilly in there. That's nice.
Yes, totally. And that's the interesting thing, because the Londoner was trying to tell me that was a very important key to all of this was our relationship with dolphins. And I'm like, at this point, this guy's like, right?
Okay, wait. I gotta go to the bathroom. I'm gonna just run a quick ad from a sponsor that Black Pillars, I didn't make it up with AI, so shut up. I know you're going to say that, but it's not the truth. Okay? I'm going to say it like Erica Kirk. Stop. Stop it. Okay, here we go. Let me just get the thing. I got to go pee.
Kurt, make sure you share your audio.
What?
Are you going to play the video?
Yeah, I thought I was.
No, you're not.
Well, let me.
We're just looking at the Google Drive or Gmail screen. You got to share.
Well, I really thought I had mastered this before. I was really cockily just going to have a nice little bathroom break and think I had done it, but I hadn't. Okay. And it's not called The Well Run Show. It's called The Derp.
Open the video file and then share the screen.
Okay. Is it good?
Now I see it. Yeah.
Yeah. I just was in the wrong window. I just, okay. Now look, it's a new sponsor, and I think it's pretty good. I think you should give it a shot. Okay, Mark. So stop with your black pilling and look at our sponsor.
Fine.
Sorry.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Finally, there's a vegetable made out of meat. Finally.
Finally.
What took so long?
Carrots crisp, green so grand, from organ cells grown by hand. Taste tomorrow, nature's twist. Farm to mouth, you can't resist. Looks like veggies, taste like meat. Hand-colored green for a veggie treat. Savor the future with a secret spin. Farm to mouth, dive right in.
Look at this. It's a carrot made of pork. See the shape and color? Perfect for a fun recipe. What the fuck? You know I'm vegan. Well, now you're normal again. Thank you. I feel much better. I like to slap out my mouth. It feels so good.
Taste of meat with a crunch of broccoli.
It's good.
Nothing matters.
Is this gonna make me retarded?
In a family lab, we print the meat, then paint it green for a veggie treat. Savor the future with a secret spin. Farm to mouth, dive right in.
Why would they do this?
Farm to mouth time.
Oh, that's farm to mouth. That's a wonderful. Glad to be part of their family, and you need sponsors on the show. Okay, I don't think it's grifting.
Not grifting. It's capitalism.
It's just called
Just
we're being
capitalism.
American.
Yeah.
A lot of these people are mad because of the pedo cannibalism of the government. But I say stop going in a purity spiral.
That reminds me of what was in the Epstein files. Part of this whole effort to beat God at his own game is they were talking about trying to engineer kosher pork. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah. So like Farm to Mouth, they were saying, hey, how could we engineer it so that we could take out the cloven hoof of the
because,
pig?
boy, that legalism shit is really funny.
Yeah,
that cloven
totally.
hoof thing is like,
Yeah.
that's just because they got devil feet. You can't eat them is the reason.
Right? Something. So, but long pig's okay, I guess. So
Yeah, a kid though. I mean, a
Yeah.
kid's a lot better than a pig and a lot cleaner. Although that's not true. I think you got to, as Queen Elizabeth said, when eating babies, you got to eat them shallow. Your liver's not developed yet. The great Queen Elizabeth. But she's passed on now. But yeah, that was supposedly a thing that she said that I can't substantiate, but I do believe it.
So they were trying to genetically modify pigs so that they could be kosher. So
they're going to give them kid feet.
Ew. They have like the southern delicacy of pickled pig's feet, but like pickled.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
I mean, it's so horrible all the time.
Yeah.
So what was Baphomet exactly? Do you have any idea?
I think Baphomet, there are a couple things because it's over time transitioned into one thing or another. So
He's
initially,
alchemical, right?
yeah, initially it's just this concept again of like bringing the generative force that brings the two polarities together, and then as a result, you have like all this, I guess, magic, right? You can create something.
Got his own game, like you just said, because you got a dick and a pussy. Like, oh my god.
So, but then what ends up happening? Well, then you got to look at the Templar ideas of it with the accounts of the head. So it actually being a thing. So the thing was like a talking head, like a severed head.
Ouija board out of somebody's head.
Pretty much, yeah. So it would be able to speak. So now we're getting into like, okay, it's sort of occulty, it's sort of magical, demonic. However, it didn't look like the Baphomet that we know it to look like. It was a severed head.
Did you see Prometheus, the Ridley Scott movie that's like a prequel to Alien?
Yes.
Where they get a head and they can trick it into thinking it's alive and have it, and then it explodes in the thing. That sounds very much like something like that. And he made a Crusader movie, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, so Prometheus, we often think of as maybe like the Luciferian principle because it's the bringer of light or whatever. But I have a whole thesis. I have a whole thesis on that says it's not the case actually.
What? Well, tell me, please, just to summarize. If you can.
Well, yeah, it's kind of I think I have it on my Substack, or I will tomorrow or something. I worked on an entire thesis that demonstrates how Lucifer is female. And so it's like, well, because when we think of Lucifer, we think of Milton's Paradise Lost version, right? And that's not it at all. And I go through the translations of where we even get Lucifer, which is the Latin for, light bearer. But it was also like misunderstood in terms of how the language was gendered, which didn't actually have anything to do with gender as we know it. It came from the idea of like a generative kind of thing having to do with other language. So it's a whole different spin. But before that, all the other knowledge bearers, like bearing something, having a baby or whatever, they're all female in all myths, everything. And then of course you have what is Lucifer but Venus, the morning star. But Venus is Venus in the Greek, it's female. Aphrodite.
What about hermaphrodite?
But that's connected that way too, because of the Hermetic principle of this female force that is the light bringer. So it's bringing the light. Prometheus, well, it even goes back to what I write about with like Enki and Enlil, which gets, might get a lot of people up in arms because
why?
Because it's usually presented as Enlil and Enki were brothers, but there's more evidence to suggest that Enki, who is considered sort of a Promethean-like figure, is actually female. Because in the Sumerian, they didn't have a gender kind of difference in that language that way. Really? And all of the other ways that it's described point to the iconography being mostly female. But what ends up happening when you have, like, over time, you have this religious syncretism go on where you have the Babylonians who create Marduk, who that is a fully masculine principle. And I'm not trying to make it like, again, because I was so like ill with this, like, oh, this divine feminine, and everyone's talking about like women or this and that and the other, but it's amazing. It's not even about that. It's not this uplifting of the female. No. It's actually the uplifting of the female in order to subjugate.
Well, because wear your skin and become you, like Buffalo fucking Bill, which is why I kind of suspected a guy like a Psycho. Yeah. Like mommy was the devouring mother, and now I wear her face, and I am a woman.
That's exactly it, though.
It is.
That is it. Oh. Because you have no. I mean, you said it, and you basically.
Why do my jokes keep coming true? Why do my jokes come true?
That's not a world we want to live in. When that's
it is not. No,
it's happening. So you have this trajectory, and it isn't until later that it gets feminized into Lucifer, which just again meant light bearer. And until that,
Saint Lucifer. You know about Saint Lucifer of Cagliari, who wouldn't forgive the Arian for not believing the Trinity. And so clearly Lucifer was not a bad guy name. If a bishop was named that, and clearly it was made later. Somebody told me it was probably what they're referring to whenever they Latinized it, is something somebody called Hillel ben Shahar.
It is. That's exactly what it is.
I'm not joking. I was told that. Okay.
No, that's exactly it. That's
Howling
the only
one.
Yes, and that's the only time where we get this like transition into it being male, and that's just reinforced through poems by Milton, Milton was a revolutionary who wanted to kill all the royalty at the time, and that didn't go over very well, and so he had to kind of come back and make this again novel, this fiction, this poem to say what he wanted to say, but then romanticize this idea of Lucifer as this Promethean type figure. But Prometheus too is not the same as all of these, and in a lot of ways, like it's been conflated. So over time, the Luciferian thing is actually the Sophia. It's the divine principle. It's Shekinah. It's all of this. And so it's been demonized when it's just essentially like this wisdom or whatever.
Well, so me and Larry Ellison prefer the term Hossitanian.
That's rolls right off the tongue. So
it does, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, that's what I'm going to call. Yeah. So you have this, and you have this like this Shekinah, you have this light, the feminine, and what's going on then is with chivalry and what we like move into then like these guilds and this idea of the Templars is they're not like embracing the divine feminine as like they're submissive to it. They're trying to romance it. They're trying to bring it to them so they can get it, which is why then they have like this, the Wailing Wall. They're having this like intercourse kind of thing happening.
They're humping it. How can it be more clear? Okay, yeah.
So this is all going on, and what they do is they're taking the so-called divine feminine, and they're subjugating it.
Right.
And so that
like
is
Star Wars. My laser penis subjugates the space egg.
Yeah. And why that matters is because what they're doing now is kind of like what you said, with like, wearing the mask of it, like Buffalo Bill. And you see then in the lodges in this like androgynous thing, they are trying to embody as much of the feminine as they can without actually bringing the feminine in, which is why they start doing like circle jerks and things and all.
Oh, that's why I need the dick to keep. I just want tits to come out. I don't.
Right. Well, that's
I don't
what
want
it
my
is.
sofa ruined with your uncleanness during the month.
Yes, because that's why it wasn't like so like bad in the past for like two women to be together, because it's literally like if you're trying to plug in two plugs, they're just not, it's not connecting.
I mean, it's still a mystery. We may know what Baphomet is. We will never know what lesbians do. Let me read some super chats. I think it was Madame Blavatsky that said girls go to China to get their Shekinah. All right. All right. This might be a 4-claw podcast tape. Okay. Fu Manchu. I'm here for good derping. You're right. It claws too much claws. 5-claw. It's going to be a 4-claw today. I Dr. Heather Lynn laid some heavy info on me. I got derped, is what I'd say. All right. Next. Hate speaker Sargon of God. Is this the real Sargon of God? Not the guy from England. I mean, the historical figure. I want to suggest a guess. Skyjack Morgan. He's a cringe vegan activist that doesn't buy into the occult, not a cult aspect of the. Did Jeffrey Epstein spell this? I enjoy watching a bedroom feminist confront. This looks like an Epstein email, the spelling. Now, God damn it, Sargon. I expected better for you as a man hoping to lead Britain zoo right. Okay, that's the next one. I bought 5 new albums this week, but this shop is like the goy. This is my favorite song. Look, the guys have talent. I compare it to like an early like Duran Duran or Depeche Mode, and I didn't know they had it in them, and it's a banger. I give it to both of them, even though I've let's face it, cyberbullied both of them in the past. Okay. Kurp, Lynchburg. It's a holy war. Oh, Kurp. I think they make tractors. Yeah, they're supposedly good tractors. $2 for minding the quartering. I know, he's like, this guy, hey, what's up, guys? This guy hates me. I don't know. Well, so here's what set me off that time at the quartering was he was going at Dave Smith, a much smarter dude who's a friend of mine, who, by the way, back in the day, Dave thought I didn't like him because I would be harsh on certain things he'd say that were dumb, but he was always a smart guy, and now I couldn't be prouder of my Davy Smith. So to see this pie-faced imbecile with a Amish beard who says he's Christian and he's going to get a Jesus piece. Yeah, you're a fucking Jesus piece. Anyway, it sets me off. Sorry. Okay. Jonathan Britton. Wait, I didn't. Is it just saying $2? Then it's fine. Thank you. Hemorrhoid Herds. James T. Kurp, the OG astronaut. Gorn Slayer. The Gorner. Oh, that's right. The Gorn. Good chemistry between you two. I am engaged, sir. Okay, next. Bring on Gigi Young. I have messaged her and I'm going to try to. I absolutely will. Hey, Kurt and Heather, have you looked into Don May? Yes, I have. I can't speak for Heather. Their Messiah sabotage. Yeah, in fact, I bring it up a lot. In fact, I bring this up all the time on Jimmy Dore show, and they're like, all right, we got to keep with the story, Kurt. But yeah, this is a real thing.
It's real.
It's like, I don't know.
It's just real. Yeah.
Well, it almost sounds like you get the idea of a shapeshifter from it. Because I imagine it's mind-blowing to be like, did you change your religion to a different religion? It must be like turning into a lizard before your very eyes. And I remember when I left Jehovah's Witnesses at Ars 2 graduation, my friend, and I remember my friend's mom, who was my one friend, Jehovah's Witnesses, his mom was great. I'd hang out with my two friends, and his mom was funny as hell and would cook and whatever. And really, when I left that religion, I remember the look she gave me, and it was as if she had seen me transform into a dinoid creature of some kind. And I never forgot it because somebody, I mean, I'm not like mad about it or something, but I just remember that look of like, oh, what are you, a thing? I don't know what you. It didn't say anything bad to me, just a look. And I imagine if you said like I used to be Jewish but now I'm Muslim, not only other religions, but I imagine fellow Jews would find that more embarrassing than being crucified. Logan Davidson, Kurp, for your own safety, please don your astronaut helmet ASAP. I did Michael Malice's podcast, and I wore my astronaut shiesty, my NASA. Or if you had seen how dignified this was, because he doesn't know about the Epstein files, and he got attacked after Rogan's show. He hadn't looked into it yet, and he had it.
I saw that. Yeah, I felt kind of like, come on.
Well, I texted. Funny shit. I texted him about it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but that guy is one of he lives down here in Austin, like one of the few people that I could blather at that knows anything I'm even talking about. Like, I mean, I just appreciate the shit out of him for that alone. Never mind if he makes me laugh or not, which he does. Okay, next. Gaddis Abramovich, good movie, The Ninth Gate. I thought it was okay. I went to see with Big J, and it was whatever. Although the lore, I guess, is interesting. I don't want to have to hunt for clues in every goddamn movie, you know. Also, Lynn, have you seen any reference? Dr. Lynn, have you seen any references to evil, excess in older texts? I've heard a bunch of burning away excess quotes. Oh, that's interesting.
No, I don't. Nope. I don't know.
Don't
what
burn
that
away
is.
the excess. That's where the flavor is in the fat. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know what that is in
A lot of
reference to.
comedians
Sorry.
like to get to being funny, and they like cut down on your long-winded setups. But I say all that fat's where the flavor is myself. Okay, not to make the show awkward, but like $500 join my Discord to chit chat conspiracies with a mate or two for like 40. I am not a conspiracy horse.
I am. I'll do it. No.
Yeah, Dr. Lynn.
I'll do it.
Heather Lynn is an
Christ.
academic doctor. She needs the money. Okay.
Yes, right.
I mean, let's see. What does it say? Just on the watch the show, or if you got a good guess, tell me. It seems like a weird thing for me to draw, but I bet I found it to be pretty Illuminati and to talk to Dr. Lynn. All right, Ayo, can you try to get Lynn Scott Hagerman on? TS, what's that mean? She went through sounds distinctly similar to TS. What is TS? Am I stupid? I went through. I want to see if she's BSG or not. Maybe Emma. I'll text Emma because I don't know what those things mean. Do you know what TS means? Anyone? Mark, my Patouche of the show. Do you know what? Well,
The
we'll figure it
only
out.
thing that comes to mind is the system, but that's because
I'm gonna actually text Emma, and I bet she knows. Thank you. Okay, what's next? You and Jenny Bible should watch. You mean my my fiance, Bible expert Jenna Von Bibles? Fucking. My girlfriend used to work at Getty, by the way, the Getty Museum, and had to leave. And she didn't see anybody like trafficking kids or something out of it. But the way she describes it, it sounds like everybody there is a programmed rich kid who's grateful to be an intern and paranoid about COVID because they're 35 and live with their parents because they don't get paid by the Getty properly. It's very interesting to me. Okay, there's Ken Anger's film Incantations. The movie is a spell. Oh, Britannia. I never heard of that, but I know Kenneth Anger's kind of a weirdo. A lot of these people really are like wizards, I guess, when they make movies. I didn't ever think of it this way, but like, you know, I wrote TV programs for years, so I'm a programmer. And when Mark Passio was on, explained the secret of human nature is programmability, not good or bad. A lot of the shit makes a lot of sense. All right, what's next? Instead of reading it, sorry. All right, this is a good continuation. Just keep them going. Kurp, can you name your humble drone manufacturing company Derpa? You got it. All right, we were calling it Turkish Delight after C.S. Lewis. We do like a C.S. Lewis thing instead of a Kurp Luckman Techveld, the famous drone developer. My company is now Derpa. You got it. Listening to the Hour of the Time about Bill Cooper, please. I might have listened to it already, but I will.
Not? You have
I think I have.
Oh, it's good. His
Yeah,
Mystery Babylon series is just
being a
iconic.
Jehovah growing up, I knew all about Mystery Babylon. He's doing a lot of the same sources I had.
Oh, neat. Okay.
Yeah. All right, what's next? But I mean, a lot of his stuff makes way more sense now than it did when I first heard it. I'll tell you that. Kurp, you see the news? Jim Carrey fakes Christ's secretion evolution, retforded Nordic interviews, Destiny and a black guy, Bill Clinton 7, nostalgia maxes. Okay, we covered this on Jimmy Dore, and the guy, I texted Jimmy, the dude who was impersonating Jim Carrey in France, he said, yeah, that was me, and he doesn't look anything like him in real life, but it was very good prosthetics. For people seeing through it, it was still pretty good. Like, if you wore it to a party, and it said Jim Carrey, people go, that was amazing. It was like slightly better than Shane's Trump makeup. You know how Shane Gillis kind of looks like Trump when he does that makeup, even though he doesn't look like Trump? It was a hair better than that. Then they got the eye color wrong. All right, what's next? Great Derp. I never heard the concept of the Rebus before. You never saw that sitcom with Rebus McIntyre? Sounds fascinating. I bet Jimmy Dore would be interested given the apparent relation to the concept of the conjunction and blending of the animal plus animus and Jungian psych. Well, Jimmy loves Jungian psychology. That's true. What's next? Is trutheracy legit? What's that? I don't know what that is. Trutheracy?
maybe Truthspiracy. That was the documentary.
Is it like piracy? Is it like somebody stole? Like
No,
I plan to steal Dr. Lynn's research for my show now. It's called Truth Piracy. I don't know what you call it.
Truth and conspiracy combined together as a portmanteau.
Who cares about these stupid fucking words? I don't understand what somebody, because Lev, who got me in touch with Giorgiani, he has me on to talk to Vlad Davidson of the Atlantic Council, and I'm sitting there, and the guy's like, and by the way, if you're gonna insult me by intelligence in the first 5 seconds, I'm gonna be probably prickly to you, you know. And you have a foreign accent, and you tell me we got to give our money to your failing fucking war. Anyway, he keeps going, you are just a conspiracy theorist. And I go, what do you mean just, first of all? Secondly, so? You're lying to me, asshole. What? It's like, again, if you got a girlfriend you cheat on, and she's like making up conspiracies, that's your fault, dickhead. All right, sorry, I keep doing again. Okay. SB Alger Sonio has information related to Tracy's trip to London on the flight. She first met her husband, who claimed descent from the old man in the mountain. Interesting. Do you know about that? I never heard anything like that.
Yeah, it's strange what's happened afterward too. Is a lot of her information's been pulled down, and her husband has been really fighting to keep a lot of it out of the,
I spread it around to everybody I can as much as I can.
There's a lot going on there with the husband. He's very litigious as well.
Well, I just spread the word to go check it out. That Minnie's Moose documentary is like,
I
gave that to a bunch of people, because I got friends that are in the business that are, I'm never going to say on a public thing, but I 100% think they're MK Monarch, and based on the things they told me, and it freaks me. It actually really, like, this stuff is so mundane and not like a Marvel movie. It's just normal shit, and that's what's so wrong and disturbing about it. So we're going to go, everybody didn't want another war, but we're going to just go have one now, because fuck you. And my girl says to me last night, she's like, it's just like, I'm used to it. Yeah, that was the plan. Yeah. And so you're already used to mass blood sacrifice whenever these assholes tell you we're going to do that, and you ain't going to do shit. So that's why I say, if you want to say I did a crime in the Epstein files, which I didn't, it doesn't matter, because there will be no arrests here. You were betrayed by the guy. Okay, you get it. Have you heard Marquee Moon by television? No. I will look. Axl Rose cast a voodoo spell on the band Against Me. Were they against him? And then singer turned into a lady. Now that is some powerful juju right there. I'm going to look it up. That sounds funny as hell. All right, thanks, Slug. Lucifer did not exist until 1611. The word is placed on page right.
Yeah.
By the Freemasons, Sir Francis Bacon. Is he the bastard son of Queen Elizabeth? That's what I've always believed. And King James, the gay king of Israel, who brought the king of England, who brought Freemasonry, I believe, back to England around that time when he made the King James Bible, throwing Lucifers in it, right?
Yeah, no, that's it. That's right there.
Yeah, well, and my little friends, when I was a little kid, and I go to my friend's house. So I had a good friend, Chris. I wonder how he's doing. I really like that guy. This guy, Chris Pazio, but I'll tell you. But his dad was a Marine, or his stepdad was a Marine, and he used to have those Jack Chick comics. And that's when I first was familiar with that. And so Jehovah's Witnesses don't have like the Trinity, and they don't believe in the Christian Zionism. At the time, I didn't think of it, but that Hal Lindsey, late great Planet Earth thing was very popular with our military, which I find very interesting now looking back.
That's weird.
And and because there's literally no reason why a Christian would give a fuck about the Wailing Wall, number one, or the modern state of Israel. Really, if you were following the Torah, wouldn't give it. You would be offended by it as blasphemy, which Torah Jews are. It's absolute psyop nonsense going back a long way. Okay, remember the Man Show guest that got breast implants? I don't. How were they? I remember Jimmy Kimmel ended up getting a pussy implant. I'll never be on the show. Why did Israel choose Saturday? Because it's I don't know why Saturn. I don't know. Oh, because Iran was about to attack any minute. They couldn't afford to wait another day.
That tracks. I believe it.
What's with the inherent goofiness of Jewish names? I want to know what your ethnicity is first before you start trashing the names that, by the way, you live in Western civilization. All your shit's based on, so shut up. You better not be a Catholic, motherfucker, because as much as I trash Israel, when I get some Fuentes closet Templar serpent, aka cock worshiper, talking shit on Jews, it makes me mad. Okay, Kurp, were you performing at Uncle Vinny's in Point Pleasant When am I? Hopefully soon. I do Uncle Vinny's all the time. I go down. I'm from that area, Tom's River, which is close to there, so I like to go down there. Loving all the derps. Kudos, plaudits. Thank you. My crew. You mean Patouche? Mark Patouche. Do you think the Iran war is following the video game? The lines where Dubai get destroyed and once was safe, and these. Are they using white phosphorus right now? I was afraid they weren't because Israel's in a fight for its life. Okay, go on. I'm sure. Much the way the first bombing closely followed, shot for shot, Top Gun 2. You think Trump is a crypto convert and is doing ritual workings? I think he's an MK Ultra victim, and I think Howard Lutnick is the guy. And if you saw the video, Cash and what's her name in their video, they put it in there. So I mean, it's not just me saying it. Okay, next.
It's all of them.
Oh, nice. I feel bad because I was like, it was a hassle to read them last show, and I was like, you guys stop giving me money. I was getting tested with my fans for giving me money, but it was just a real hassle.
Shout out to this person for $100. That's
I didn't even see that hate speaker Akai. Hey, good luck on Lotus Eaters, man. Thanks for that hundo. That's it. And is that I was American, but that's still very good. If it was pound, I don't know what their money's worth. Do you know anything? Is England's money worth more or less right now? Do you know?
Wouldn't want to guess right now, especially given the markets. So,
do you think the Anunnaki are the breakaway civilization that the tall whites are from, which I've heard some people call them working class Anunnaki? And do you think that it's something akin to the flood myth, but when there's a flood, but they leave and come back, and now they're because when I heard the Charles Hall alien tall white story, they sound like really racist tall people that are really white.
No, I think so. My whole kind of analysis on it is we're looking at, if you look at the actual text, what the semi-settled hunter-gatherers at the time were writing and experiencing, they're saying, first of all, they were referred to as the black-headed ones, which meant they were differentiating hair color between the invaders.
Oh, thank God. I thought they had bad skin. Okay, good.
And then you have no, that's never thought of it that way, but yes. No, but as far as their skin goes, they were called the Adama, and that was also the term for red, like the red clay of the earth.
So this just sounds like the Phoenician thing. The Edomites. Bonnie Prince Harry.
So you have the story of these individuals who are there, and the archaeology presents them as being roughly about 5'1" in their height. They're smaller in stature. Their skeletons that have been discovered have been rubbed down with this red ochre to suggest it's not a leap to think that they were also painting themselves in that.
Sounds like they're really into that.
Yeah. And so when you look at the Abrahamic view of how Adam was made, he was made, and I say Abrahamic because it's Jewish and Muslim. We don't emphasize it a lot in Christianity.
Thank you. There's no Judeo-Christian. That's a marketing term like gender affirming care. It's called Abrahamic.
Abrahamic. Yes. And so you have the account of Adam being created out of the clay of the earth. Mm-hmm. And so you have this account then of these individuals who say these larger others came, and they were called the shining ones. And that could refer to perhaps they were tall whites, whatever, but perhaps they were also then shining because they had advanced metallurgy, like copper alloy, like a lot of different things.
Maybe they could sing and dance.
Maybe they could just, they were
sparkle, baby.
So they're like Liberace or something. So
yeah, I take it.
Yeah. And so they come in and they subjugate the hunter-gatherers that are there, and they make them work for them, which is like the origin of the word worship is not you bow down and just like say things, you work for. It's the work for this individual.
Wait, that's the etymology? It means
yes, it means to work for.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it means they've essentially made these individuals work for them by digging and promoting agriculture, digging like the aqueducts and all of this. Now, this is where it's like kind of like the cargo cult situation.
I think that too. Like it seems so much like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, yes, because it makes when you talk about the Anunnaki and their attributes, they're very human. They're not supernatural.
All those gods seem like creepy Hollywood people you heard about in the Epstein files. Those might as well be the Olympus files.
They have very specific ways they wanted to be worshipped too. Like, so when it comes to food preparation, a way of animal sacrifice worship, etc., they were like, no boiling. We don't want boiled meat. Like, who does? It was all open grill. They had recipes for their sacrifices. Right. They had all these things. If you go back,
so people that died, and that's why they like to smell the meat. Their ghost likes to smell the Phoenician. Who's the guy who writes about those Phoenicians? They're all just people. They got deified the way John McCain was given to Hestia's bosom when he passed on, that piece of shit.
And now we sing his song of bomb, bomb, bomb.
Yes, I do. I mean, hey,
yes,
the guy has some good ideas.
Right. So I just imagine his buddy Lindsey Graham just out there on the lanai.
We'll talk about the Shekinah. Oh, we're gonna get all of them.
His little ladybugs. Did you see that thing on Reddit? I gotta send you that because you'll never look at it. It's about his hemorrhoids that he calls his little ladybugs. It's a whole. It's his whole. I'll send it to you, but yeah, it's his little ladybugs were like happy. So
doctor said they're warts.
That.
But I don't believe him.
No.
Now on to Ukraine.
So that's what's been going on, is this idea of the cargo cult mentality. And now what they did, though, when they came in, is they created a priest class. And this is where we get the idea of the Nephilim and, of course, genetic engineering, because, of course, they genetically engineered people.
That's because I was like, okay, clearly the history of everything is this corrupt priest class that is using somehow got like the codes, like those internet things, like one weird trick to get into her pants,
yes.
And because when you hear about them, they're always like intergalactic sex tourists looking for younger species that they shouldn't be doing that with. They're akin to bestiality and PDF filed them. So that every time I look at it, that's exactly how it comes off to me, man.
Well, they had to bridge the gap between the language. So Sumerian, and why it's usually referred to as the Sumerian problem, is that it appears on the scene out of nowhere, and it's not related to any of the other languages nearby. And so it's clearly an invader. And then it comes in, and in order to then speak, there's the going in between. So you have the priest class who can speak to the hoi polloi, and then the ones that can speak to the gods, and then they have this system built up. But
there's a guy who was probably full of shit, but I just remember a detail. Sean David Morton or something, but he used to say this alien race considered our language a disease. And it makes me think of the Tower of Babel or all these things where, I know people think aliens built shit, but being a Jehovah, and I bet Amish could relate to this, they have these miracle, quick build projects, okay? And the reason is everybody is spiritually connected and working on the same thing and nothing else with pure dedication. Who's doing that at their job for no pay? It's religion to do that, okay? And I've seen a guy make his own Stonehenge in his yard with tools he made so it can be done. It was very clever how he did it. But imagine you got a workforce and nothing but that guy. And not only that, they don't got to talk. They're telepathic. I'll bet you could get all kinds of things you thought were impossible done.
Well, they worship the word. That's why we have Sumerian as like the beginning of history, because they wrote everything down.
Is that what Yuval Harari's saying in that stupid web speech? So if the books are written the language and we have language, then the language is God. That's what he's talking about.
In the beginning, there was the word, and the word was
you're right.
God. So, and that's the logos, that's logic, that's the principle that comes in, is the ordering force over the Shekinah. All of this, it's all connected through all these different world systems. It used to be called by Jordan Maxwell, whatever about him, but that old time.
Sometimes he's off about some things. That guy.
he was super. I mean, but like he was. Yeah.
I saw a pterodactyl.
He was nuts, but he was putting out, like, in his grift, which was a grift, but he was putting out.
He was working with the Nation of Islam, much like Scientology, which my friend Aaron from Growing Up Scientology explained to me. Farrakhan licenses Scientology for all the Black Nation of Islam people. That's that weird connection with Will Smith, where they're Scientologists, but they're not. These fucking sorcerers, because that's sorcerer class. That's what you call it. You're right. You're dead right. The final initiation in religion in those orders is to make
it's making your own. Absolutely, because then that's how you can be worshipped as God. That's becoming God.
Ron Hubby did it.
Yeah. Well, Mormons have that too.
It's amazing. He said this is shit I've been blathering, not as good as probably how you're saying it for the entire every episode. I probably said
you're right on all this stuff. It's amazing. The only thing I have different is I kind of just like lay it out like in a system where you can follow all the etymology and have
better.
sources. I can't take an academic approach to it, but
No, dude, I cannot wait to get you books. I just absolutely can't wait. And
well, temper your expectation because they're for like
I
my
need something that I
Substack.
can show other people. Do you understand? It's like
that's that's my
nobody knows what the
Anunnaki.
fuck I'm talking about, doctor.
We have like the curse of knowledge sometimes, which is a real thing where you just think people know these like Shekinah, the Pluroma.
Everybody says it to me.
Like,
Here's why I
you
suspect you're
talking
right about that, because everybody says it to my face every time I'm going on and on. So I know that's an issue. So when somebody has written a book that can be, I'm not a teacher. I'm just a shaman and astronaut. I'm very honest about what I am. I don't try to pretend that I can teach. I'm just legally a judge. And an astronaut. Does Heather find Michael Tellinger's work credible?
There's aspects of it I think that are, but overall, I would have thought so maybe earlier until I kind of came to my own, conclusion, which is more that these were human, and about them being in like looking for gold. I think the gold focus is where it's losing.
You know about Ormus? Monoatomic gold they sell online for you to drink.
Oh yeah.
But it ain't the real Ormus from Sumer. It's the one from Sumer's got body parts in it.
Yeah,
and they do Jack Parsons wiener magic over it.
Pretty much. I mean, that's where we get all these demons from demonology, like Pazuzu and Lamash too. That's another example of that. Pazuzu is this like force. It's the devil that was in The Exorcist.
Yeah, he fought that other ugly one to keep her from killing your baby.
Yeah, Lilith and that. Yeah. So this is a long time thing. So I don't think that it's. So I guess I just am not. I don't have like the belief in the goal driven thing the way that I think a lot of other people do. In fact,
gold's not the point as much. You know what the point is? These are so my friends, people call him Smart Shane. Nathaniel Gillis I had on, Steve Mera, and they are doing some very interesting work because all this UFO shit, the people telling you a lot of these stories are leaving negative aspects out of it, like because they don't want to. Because everybody's there
are space brothers, and it's also
being filtered into
climate
a theme.
Change.
I'm not saying
it's to make us at fault.
Like we're the aliens that never belonged. And I've heard this one before.
Harari, you just said that. Like if you read *Sapiens*, it's like that's.
Does he say that too?
Like we're disease. Oh,
he really is the best.
Something, isn't he?
And all these. So when you say humans are, when somebody does that, all the humans are a disease. I assume you're a PDF file automatically because that's how they talk. They want everybody else to pay for their crimes, and they want to act like, well, we're all bad. Well, hey, everybody does stuff, right? I guess humans are just bad.
They're a cancer on the earth.
Yeah, no,
they hear that all
ruling
the time.
classes. All of your Master, you're all right. And Rokon, I'll forgive you for the other shit because of this. All of you are the parasite. The regular people that they treat like cattle, and this is where I differ with Giorgiani, because he subscribes this cattle shit. No, they poisoned everyone. They're on purpose trying to do that with techniques they learned from space pedos.
Well, that's the whole point. But that's exactly like, so that's what, so I started writing books for like a general like intro too, because as I was teaching, I found that a lot of the stuff that I'm thinking, I have to break it down in very simple terms for people because, you just sort of know a bunch of things and forget that other people aren't like following you down those rabbit holes. And so I started doing that with these books, and I kind of put that in there like, hey, they look into this, or maybe this could be that, but a more digestible way of linking the Anunnaki situation, I would call it, to the Younger Dryas impact event and the migration patterns that came after that, specifically because their story of Noah's Ark, which is much older than the story of Noah's Ark we're familiar with, it specifically says that Noah, first of all, wasn't related to all of the people that he gathered up, but instead he selected, first of all, he knew that this was coming because he knew astronomy, and he was able to gather up the most important artisans and scientists of the day, essentially making a breakaway civilization.
Whose story is that?
The Sumerians.
So the guy, what's their name for it? The guy instead Papa Pishtu or whatever, something instead of Noah.
Yeah. And so,
just quick question: is it possible, because all these cultures have a thing? Is it possible there's like a few people had their own Noahs and there wasn't just one. That's all of them.
I believe that is the case, because if you have, say you have then this Younger Dryas impact event, and of course, assuming that you're buying into that, which I do, other people are mad about it. So whatever, you have to kind of take that one. But in that framework, you have climate migration because people are having melting and they're maybe living in valleys, whatever. It's causing a big bunch of human migration patterns. But in the story, the Sumerians, they say they take all these people, essentially making a breakaway civilization, and then all the animals of the steppe, very different than all the animals ever made.
The steppe, I didn't know that. Oh, wow.
Why that matters is what steppe? That's the Eurasian steppe by the Black Sea, all of this, like Mount Hermon, all of this, where all of it's linked to this Illuminati stuff, etc. You take all of the animals of the steppe, because think about nomadic steppe people, how more successful they are. They're able to have those animals as sustenance. They cut the animal, they drain the blood. Yes. So they drink the blood of the animal. They eat cheese. They have dairy, whatever. And so you have those individuals then moving around. They're displaced because of the climate situation. And then it is reasonable to think that, and plus we have evidence of this.
Do you know how crazy we just said? What? That's why, because these people can't create for some reason. Only they need the cattle to create for them. So that story, that stupid fucking story, of course they're going to use that story. Of course that's the one.
Yeah. So what you have here is a breakaway civilization, an antediluvian civilization that broke away to save themselves and their technologies, those technologies being agriculture, which includes animal husbandry. So when people are like, did the Anunnaki genetically engineer humans? Yes, they did. Not through beakers and lab coats and Mr. Wizard's world, but through good old fashioned breeding and not allowing ones to breed and saying, well, you guys, you look pretty good. And we're going to have enough. Yes. And they were
like we do to dogs.
Yes, 100%. So what we have, the actual thing that those Anunnaki were bringing was the Babylonian system of social stratification, money systems, everything. So
the Baal cycle where he's going to go fight with death underground, and so he impregnates a cow before he goes in case he doesn't come back. Mm-hmm. And do you think a cow is a human woman? Probably.
That's a good question. Possibly. I mean, it could have been referencing it that way. Yeah.
Baal means master. Yes. And so they're slavers, eugenicists. Yes. This theme with that fun Chase Bank logo, we'll call it, instead of the, I don't know if you're allowed to talk about
swastika. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sweet. The Swazi's in your heart.
It's the friends you've made along the way. That's the
real Swazi. Is the animals you've bred and like all this talk and Giuliani, he was surprised I had seen this, but I've seen him talking about his hypnosis life regressions, because they're fascinating and they're all about living. And my good friend, another good friend of mine is a comic, has Atlantis memories, which now I would dismiss that outright. I would like to, by the way. I hate Atlantis. I hate hearing about it. I hate Shirley MacLaine horseshit.
Oh,
but I gotta tell you, this stuff comes up quite a bit. In fact, I found out, I'm going to talk to Roger Avery about it, the director, because he asked the director of Exorcist about it. Remember Shirley MacLaine, I guess Shirley MacLaine's daughter. So the mother in The Exorcist is an actress, and she's friends with an astronaut and a priest and another guy who's a director. And then the girl accuses the one actor friend of doing something evil, right? Hmm. And I think the director worked that in based on Shirley MacLaine's kid messing with a Ouija board and getting, even if it wasn't in the book, I think that's what it is. And see, I sent Roger Avery Tracy Twyman's Minnie's Moose book, because I've been getting that Twilight language thing to try to and to me the thing is the themes. As soon as I see there's just this thing that's annoying where you're like, they take the things they did, these transdimensional trillionaires who cannot detransition from the gross forms they've given themselves, and they fucking blame you. And you know what? You should go meditate while I hijack your shit. I'll drive.
Well,
I mean, let go, let God.
Yeah. So when the Anunnaki themselves are maybe classified as humans, and yes, the Atlantis thing is kind of ridiculous because it's been like Aquaman and all this. But if you just look at what Plato was trying to talk about in the original, it kind of links more to that. And again, this doesn't mean this is an exact place with an exact thing. This is the collective memory of early people putting down what they experienced and why there could be then
we know epigenetic memory is
Yes.
real. We know it's real. That's what MK Ultra and Monarch are based on, the knowledge of epigenetics, which they used to say it wasn't real.
Right. And oral tradition too. It's always been, acknowledged that many of these epics and these origin stories were first oral tradition.
Would you say this? Would you say the themes? So the real, I saw Diana Pasolka call them mythemes, but the Legos of the shit is the themes. And then people getting hung up on the language, like is it an alien or an NHI or an X-Files? Yeah. And so that's the nonsense kind of artificial part that is really leading you astray. The themes, though, that's the international language.
That's the important part, because the motifs are what are the myths. The motifs are like the truth of myth, right? Myth isn't factual, but it's truth. And so the important part to know about that is just like Campbell, tried to talk about the hero with 1,000 faces. We're so hung up with the mask that we argue, and we're not seeing that, but they want us to do that through programming.
Just to tie this back to your thing with that Latinx guy who is now, his gender is indeterminate, blah, blah, and he's a problem. During that whole time, and because I asked somebody, why would you have to transition a young kid? What possible reason would there be? To Rogan's credit, he asked that idiot from Adam Ruins Everything a great question. Adam is
that guy, yeah.
And he goes, okay, my son's a girl. Why can't they just wear a dress? Why would I have to give them drugs and hormones? Wow, what a great question. And Adam Ruins Everything ruined the great question by going, I don't feel like we should be talking about this. He reverted to insanity. So that's but the reason is because your best chance of passing as a woman, if you decide to become a galley of Kybel, your best chance of passing is to do it really young, because that's what the creeps that want that like. So America is based on your outer shell is the most important thing about you, obviously. If I don't pass, and because you have to participate in me pretending I'm something other than what I am, or the magic doesn't work, right? Now, normally you'd coax people into it, but I'd like to force you to do it. And I'd like you to look at me how I actually don't look at myself, because if I said I'm a woman, I would say right to your face I'm a woman, and I'd be that ridiculous, and you couldn't tell me shit if I thought that, right? But they don't think that, so they want you to pretend and use your projection magic to make it so. And I think maybe you can if they get enough people to do it. But the outer shit, that aesthetic thing, it's a theme across everyththing. Politics. Are you Democrat? Are you loyal to MAGA? Morons that ask if you're loyal. They're IDF agents. But no, of course I'm not, you fucking idiot. First of all, I don't vote. But if Trump had not turned out to be yet another Janus thing, I would go, oh, the president actually has power, and then it's worth it to vote. Now we know for sure it's not. Now we know for sure that you don't live in a real democracy. I was never loyal to MAGA. What are you, fucking stupid? They're supposed to work for you, assholes. To once again, that's the name of this podcast. Who the fuck am I talking? All right, I'm out of time. Dr. Lynn, I think this might be the best one I ever did, because you blew my you know how you blew my mind with little connections that are like right there that I just did not see until you said it, and it made me understand a lot of things that I kind of understood, but I didn't. And it's because of a little tweet, like I don't know how to describe it, but I'm gonna get them books. I'm getting the title bomb book already, but
yes, do so.
Website or something. We'll put all the info of what to look into, because great. I thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me. It's great to be able to talk to somebody who's so like informed on these things and not be looked at as like a total like woo. So
I have no idea how informed I am until I meet anybody who knows anything, because I'm like a lot of people, and by the way, a lot of people that are academic or have the quality will dismiss it and not. I asked Jordan Peterson about hypnosis, and after he did the LaVey, what's her name?
The daughter.
Taylor Swift LaVey.
Yeah.
You know how we interviewed Taylor Swift LaVey?
Yes,
and it was bizarrely suspicious, and I Instagram messaged his daughter, like, do you know about them people? What is this? Didn't get back to me, of course, because why would they? The Gail Pooley thing sews it all together. But I asked him about it, because how you know about Jung, like to the degree you do, and then you expect me not to notice that while you're saying nonsense because you have to, because you took $60 million, In all likelihood, you're a
Yes.
monarch slave from Canada, an MK monarch slave.
Yes.
But now the cognitive dissonance of knowing about the subconscious to the degree you do, you're going to wear 2 different colored suits. The same way a chick that's not happy with herself cuts her bangs or whatever the fuck. That's what he did with his suits. This stuff manifests. That's why the suppression, the reason I wasn't ultimately, one of the final things where I'm like, I don't believe in this religion I was in, is people that are gay. And I know gay is a marketing term that they invented, but I knew people from when they were kids. We all called them slurs, and they weren't fucking. And so I'm just telling you what I've seen from living a long time is I don't think nobody chose that. So that I have a problem with that as a thing where I'm supposed to, and also if you know about Christianity, I'm not married to my fiance I live with. We fuck her all the time. So that's as bad as being a homosexual if you know what the scripture teaches. So I'm not going to be judgy of somebody because of that. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I agree.
Like any minor problem I have, I don't think it's hard to like discern like the way people think it is. I think you could see people's actions, and I think you could see, like you could see Trump sucks, and unless you're a fucking Dottie Sandusky dumb bitch, you're gonna go, oh okay, maybe everyone can stop grifting one day. Maybe everyone can stop lying.
I don't know. I think we're too far gone. I don't know. I don't want to be black pill. All these pills. There's no good.
Oh yeah, like how Big Pharma has your fucking brain. So not only that. Not only does Big Pharma have that much of a vice grip on people's fucking dumb shit heads, and all these dumb fucking millennials and Zoomers have been on school shooter pills their whole lives, like it was communion wafers. Okay, you have to think in pills. I'm not going to be black pill. What the fuck does that mean? I'm not using your dumb language, you dipshit kids.
That's some programming too.
That's mind control.
That's Hey,
Jeremy from the Quartering, you absolute dipshit. That's why you don't say black pill when someone loses faith in the satanic government of the cunt fuck United States. You fucking insufferable phony. Okay. I was way out of hand, this derp. But what a great guest I had. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
To Mark, my Nephilim Patouche of the show. Patouche is a little Indian boy that pretends to be AI online for people. It's a children's book I created.
Oh, that sounds great.
You know how AI turns out to be Indians all the time?
Hey, that's funny. That's
like the Little Prince. Remember the Little Prince? He lives on a
planet with the little rose.
Yeah, last episode. Yeah. Patouche is probably more popular than any episode of this show I've ever done. All right, listen, you guys got derped. I don't know what you want.